And we're on. We're live. What's happening, everybody? It's Sunday night. Yay! Oh, who do we got on here already? The car guy's wife. What's happening, sweetie? Danny Boyd, Buff Del Campo, the legendary Buff Del Campo. Donovan Wayne English, what's happening? Jason Fitch, Wood Metal Garage, Ian Thornton, Big Bear, what's happening? Roll up your cigarettes. Let's see. Michael Bertoni, Rick Shadow every time Tony says slant six. I'm not going to say slant six tonight. Ain't going to do it. Yeah. Ultra Kathy Brodia, cool, refreshing water. Ooh. Fubar, what's happening, brother, man? Paul Capizzola, Ajax, thank you for that. We got merch coming your way. Ajax, we got that. John Wilburn picked up our 170. I'm not going to say that type of six. So we got you covered, brother, man. Rube Mopar, dude, James Olaf, Bruce W, Terrence Seymour, Steve Bico. Okay, wow, we got everybody's here. Project Thunderbird, Dust Trap Life. What's a dust trap? Lil Joe, James Kaiser, what's happening, brother, man? I just got in the door a minute ago, so I'm still trying to get my bearings. Uncle No Identity. Let's see. Straight Six fan, what's happening? Oh no, is Kathy Six Ultra Kathy? No, I just picked her up. She was over at the grandkids' house painting a thing for the granddaughters. So she's running around taking care of dogs and chickens and all of that stuff. John Goldberg, what's happening, brother, man? Project Mopar. Let's see. Martin Hildebrand, he needs a big block bell housing. Anybody got one for sale? Okay, I don't. What's up to 73 Roadrunner? I actually just washed it today. I have not laid a finger on that car in like a year. And I just washed it today. And just now, I pulled in the driveway, I was like, that car looks good. But yeah, that's all there is with that car right now. Ian Thornton, Tony, any tips for getting cheap used tools on eBay? Now, hit estate sales. I think you get your best tool deals for like things like estate sales. I wouldn't bother buying on eBay. By the time you're done paying for shipping, right? Shipping is crazy these days. Ian, you're trying to start a traveling VW service thing. Oh, in my city, what do you recommend for starting a small business like that? Ian, that's a great question. Networking, getting to know people, find whatever social media outlets are similar, cover that in your general neck of the woods. You've got to have a little clique of VW enthusiasts. That's the way to do it, man. Just social networking, get out to events and just meet people and shake their hands and tell them you dig their car and then tell them, this is what you do. You work on these things, and don't expect instant results just because you're out there, you put yourself out there now, doesn't mean that people need your services right now. So be patient, you know what I mean? Just bide your time and get your name to as many people as you can. And I think you'll do fine with it, but you gotta be patient. Busho, 1231, $5, thank you, sir. Hello, does 1985 Dodge Ram Charger AW100 have a 720 A99? It would be an A99, and John Wilburn will answer that question for you. John, would you? He's a transmission guy. Once you get past 833s, 904s, and 727s, it's out of my league. But I'm sure John Wilburn can answer that question for Busho. Denkin, I found your channel after buying a 65 Buick Special. Nice car. I love those. You're 19 years old, and your videos have taught me a lot, so I just wanted to thank you. Thank you. For participating and extending our culture, Don't thank me, man. I'm thanking you. Okay. Okay, let me tilt this down just a little bit. Okay, that's better. Oh yeah. All right. Let's see. Michael Villabros just wanted to check in and say I appreciate your help and advice for all of us who have Mopars that need a little help. That's what we're here for. Tim Carrier, if that were my Hemi, I'd completely go through it since it's so iffy. We dropped the pan. Check the torque on the heads was all fine. We dropped the pan. Looked at caps and stuff like that. Everything inside the motor looks beautiful. We inspected the block for cracks, the main saddles. We spent some time on it. The motor, the balance of the motor seems fine. You know, they goofed a little bit on push rod length. Okay, but you gotta look at it this way, right? There's a machine shop. There's a named machine shop that put the engine together. And putting together the bottom end of a Hemi is no different than putting together the bottom end of a Toyota or putting the bottom end together of a Model T. There's nothing unorthodox there at all. So it seems that they did a good job on the basic assembly, the basic machining. Well, the machining looks good. Everything inside the motor looks beautiful. It's got brand new ARP bolts in it. Everything was torqued the way it was supposed to be torqued. So I have a lot of faith in the basic one block assembly. So I don't think we're going to have any problem with that at all. But yes, we did pull, for future reference, and Ray's asking, we pulled the pan, we got in there and went from one end to the other, and everything looks beautiful. So we're in good shape as far as that goes. Hey James, well, hi, what's happening? Let's see. Hey UTG, my 75 Charger 360 Wenda. Peter Kovacs. Shame that 67 Hemi seems to have been pieced together, but that's pretty common with old muscle cars. Yeah, especially Hemi cars. You know, you gotta understand something, right? Those engines, for street use, okay, were miserable. They were not happy motors, and there was a lot of stuff that would go wrong with them that would drive the average person out of their mind. Like those heat tubes that go up the back to the intake manifold. Those would rot through. Those engines were only 2-3 years old, and they were rotted, right? And those are the ones that were in regular service. So a lot of those cars got pulled off the road. The Hemi got pulled out. 383s got dropped in because it was just an easy swap. And then those motors all went off into Raceland, where they got abused and beat up and machined and everything crazy. So that car is it's pretty typical of what you'll find, where the car itself is intact, the car itself is in nice shape, but all of the things that are around the motor that would have been like discarded over the years are all been rounded up and pieced back, and it's just not quite, you know what I mean? But with that particular car, that was just sloppy assembly. Like somebody just, I think, this is my personal opinion, after going over everything there, right? It's my personal opinion. I think that it was probably a very elderly guy who put that together, because the detailing on it is really meticulous. It's nice, okay? But it seems that all of the fasteners, like the water pump bolts, timing cover bolts, oil pan bolts, everything around the motor, right, was just a little more than finger tight. And I'm thinking that the person who actually assembled that was a very elderly person, and that was how much strength they had. Because it's funny, like every fastener around the engine was kind of like to the same. It's hard to explain any other way. I mean, everybody puts something together. You forget to tighten something, or I think it happens to all of us. It happens to me. In fact, that just happened the other day. I had a vacuum leak on one of my own cars, and I'm looking around for what the problem is. And I had 2 intake manifold bolts that I had neglected to tighten when I put the engine together. So eventually it just started sucking air. It happens. But on that particular GTX, every single fastener external of the engine, okay, was tightened to the same amount of just like, right? So I'm telling you, I think it was just an really old guy that was just like, just going at the maximum of his ability, and he did the best that he could. That's what I'm thinking happened with that. Pierre D'Entremont, bro. I'm sorry if I just slaughtered your name. I'm terrible. Like Pierre. What about the cam bearings? Scuffed up. But it does look like they found a home. I slid the cam in it, turn it by hand. It turns right. It turns fine. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make a judgment call and say they'll be okay. But that engine right there is the perfect example of why I hesitate to change cam bearings, because those are all new cam bearings in there, and you can see they've got odd scuffs, right? There's the scuff, kind of a little scuffing on the bottom that you would expect from an engine that didn't fire right away, didn't get oil pressure right away, and you have a little bit of scuff in there, but there was also scuffing off to the sides, which means that the cam bearing bores aren't round anymore. So you drive the bearing in, and the bearing distorts to meet the bore, and that engine right there is the perfect prime exact example of why I hesitate to change cam bearings. If they had been just a tiny bit more, right, instead of the journal, instead of the cam finding a home in that journal by scuffing things a little bit, it could have grabbed it and turned it, and that would be the end of that. Let's see. Hey, what's going on, Andy? Ari. Oh, hey, Ari. What's happening? Let's see. Matt Horn, you found the right person to help him with his Hemi. You're great. Let me say. Andy is a great guy. That's the thing. You make friends in this thing too. And he's got some really cool wheels. I'm looking forward to doing more stuff with Andy in the future. He seems like it doesn't seem like he really is a great guy. So, okay, what about yourself tonight, Tony? Yeah. Well, for right now, I mean, Ultra Kathy may pop in, and then again she may not. Let's see. Allie the Retro Kid. Uncle Tony, do you have any idea where to get cheap used 60s and 70s Mopar engine parts? I've been having trouble with junkyards carrying late model only. The days of going to the junkyard and finding this stuff are over. Although, I mean, you could if you have a blank slate, if you don't have anything that you're currently working with, start with Magnums. Because that stuff you can still get in junkyards. Start with a Magnum motor. And then go from there, because that, as far as like actually finding 60s and 70s Chrysler stuff, you're gonna have to just like meet the local Mopar people, you know what I mean, and you'll start to, John B, did he go to West Point, Army officer? I saw the T-shirt he did in the second video. Yeah, he's Army. He's Army. CEQT, Motor Trend is trash. They canceled Junkyard Gold, right? They canceled Junkyard Gold. Of all of the shows, that is the only one. So they got a bunch of different shows on their network. That is the only one that I have watched and then rewatched and then rewatched. And when I'm like, I want to just mellow out before I go to sleep, right? I just want to watch TV. I'll binge watch that. Junkyard Gold.
Junkyard Gold? You're talking about Junkyard Gold?
Yes.
I'm so upset.
How come you're not using your Ultra Kathy cup?
Oh, because I just had this one. I stuck it in the microwave.
Oh.
So I can't put the other one in the microwave.
Ooh.
Hi, guys.
Look, it's Ultra Kathy, and she's sitting off to the side for some reason.
Because
I don't know what she likes. She likes to be the voice.
Painting. I just got done painting.
So?
And I'm tired. And I look like I'm tired. But I'm here. I'm here, guys. What's going on? What's up, Joe K?
Cameron Cummington. Tell me, did you have any influences in your magazine days, like authors and magazine guys?
Look, I put up the question so you can see it.
Great Basketball was one of them. But mostly the whole staff of Carcraft magazine from about 1970, 71 to about 74, 75. greatest magazine in history, and a lot of great personalities came out of that. And I would say that era of car craft, when it was when it was Drag Racing's complete magazine, that was probably the biggest influence, in my, in coming up.
What's up, Patrick? Dicky Farley.
And then later on, I worked with Steve Collison when he took over Superstock and Drag Illustrated and Drag Racing. He was from that era of car craft.
What's going on, Danny Boyd? Thank you, Vince.
Google says we need slots for Slag Hammer. I agree.
Slots. We gotta find those.
Slag Hammer. I love that.
But you said the car's not really slaggy.
There's no slag on it.
No.
Honestly, right? Like if I clean up those rolls really good, there's really no slag. But it's a great name, Slag Hammer, just because there's so much weld on it.
Yes, Ajax, I'm going to send you tarps. He's the one that sent you this last.
I know, Ajax.
Okay,
Thank you so much, brother man.
Okay, thank you. They will be in the mail tomorrow.
Rocky Myers, Cliff Gromer was the man? Jeez. You have no idea.
That might be Cliff Gromer, Rocky Myers.
It might be Cliff. It might be because he never uses his own name. He's all over the place. Freaking Gromer was the original troll. Unbelievable.
I must be happy with the 67 GTX in the shop. Yeah, it's a really nice car.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Let's see. Thank you, Fubar. Yes, we have merch in the shop.
Oh,
Let's see.
I'm tired.
We're all tired. That's why I'm sitting off to the side right now because I look tired.
We've been going
nonstop
to hell.
Just nonstop. That's why we're late tonight.
Yeah.
Because
The shop
was working
out perfectly, but Martin Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Martin. So will the pinion snubber work on a 79 D150? No. Truck springs are symmetrical. Truck springs, you can put a pinion snubber on it, but it's really not the thing to do. Truck springs are symmetrical, meaning that the axle is centered in the spring. So all of the things that you would do, let's say with a Ford or a GM car, slapper bars are okay, a Caltrac, any type of traction device like that. So yeah, don't bother. The pinion snubber it works best on cars that have asymmetrical springs, not the trucks. Okay. Wood Metal Garage. Uncle Tony, if Bottle Rocket had an automatic, what RPM stall converter would you put in it? Probably $4,000. Michael Valensis, I have 2 rocker arms that won't tighten. The nuts bottom out, they're still playing them. What should I do? Thanks for your help. I'm assuming you have a Chevrolet. And if that's the case, if you have a regular old small block Chevy, so what's happened is the stud is pulling out of the head. The rocker studs are pressed in, and that's what happens. You'll just keep tightening it. It'll go away, and then because the stud is pulling out of the head. Assuming you've got a small block Chevy.
Let's see.
Did I work with Don Peter? No, I didn't. Never did. Did I ever cross paths with Terry Cook? Actually, I talked to Terry Cook about 2 months ago. I know we've crossed paths, but we've never worked together or anything like that. Dexter, what's happening, brother man? 86 Mustang GT with an all-stock 302 HO. I want to achieve about 450 horsepower. What can I do to achieve this? That'd be a very, very stout 302. I mean, honestly, the answer is kind of obvious as far as like the simplest way to do it is with a Chinese turbo, man. The simplest way, the Chinese turbo or spray it. 450 horsepower NA with a stock 302. You're a long way from being able to do that without a power inner. That's what I would do. Assuming you're going to keep that motor stock. Anyway, have you ever taken apart a rack and pinion? Yeah, of course I have. Pure Stress, could you make the Miata even older school by putting a pinion snubber instead of the torque arm it came with? No, the torque arm supports the center section of that rear end just literally hangs with nothing to support it. Like you could just take it and go thump, 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 thump. So no, the pinion snubber wouldn't work. It actually has to be supported so that it can't move at all. Because remember, it's an independent rear suspension. So the center section doesn't move, it shouldn't move with torque reaction. It's all transferred to the axles. You plan on doing an 871 build on something like a 440? You must send me a blower? I don't really have anything to put a blower motor in, really. I mean,
Charger?
No. I like the Charger with the flat hood and all. I mean, it's a possibility. You know, it's somewhere down the road. It's definitely a possibility, but I don't have any immediate plans for it. Jared, 68 Mustang, 306 miles, cam, GT40 heads, and I'm looking for a good intake carb setup. Would a 650 or 670 CFM work best? Minimum 650, 670. I'm thinking, you know, the 750 range is where you want to kind of start with that. You know, my 75 Charger 360 motor, when it's warm, sounds like it's misfiring, and when idling, it feels like it just wants to stall out, and sometimes does when hitting the gas. It falls flat on its face. Help, bro. There is so many things that could be. I'm gonna guess you got a vacuum leak of some sort. That sounds like a vacuum leak, you know, a bad one. But have you covered all the bases? Is timing right? You know what I mean? Does it have compression? The spark plug's good. You know, all of the basic tune-up things covered. You know, I don't know, but just reading your question, like the thing that pops in my head is bad vacuum leak someplace.
Here, put this mic on. Because you're echoing.
Oh, echoey. I don't want to be echoey.
Yeah.
Some people will be like, hey, he echoes. I can't listen to him. He echoes. Okay.
Ted Hines.
Hey, Ted.
And I said a later miles even because you work for a Valiant swap. The 198 unit is shot, and I don't know if it's perfect.
It's never worth fixing a 198. I mean, honestly, unless you're going to put a 225 crank in it. The 198 really is a pointless engine. It has no advantages. The 170 has advantages in its basic architecture, and the 225 is just big, right? Small but big. The 188, yeah, yes, the slant out of a later model D100 will definitely work. You didn't say what year Valiant, because there is a difference. There is a difference in the pilot diameter of the register that the flywheel would bolt to or the flex plate would bolt to. There is a diameter difference, 1966 and earlier, 1967 and later. Antonio De La Rosa. Hey, Tony, I just bought a car with a welded diff. Is there any way to reverse it to an open diff? Change the diff. That's really the only thing you can do. Super duper David Morgan. Swapping a 74 318 pickup motor for a 1988 318 from a Dodge Diplomat. Okay. Do I have to keep the flywheel harmonic balancer from the 74 motor to use on the 88 motor because of the balance? You say flywheel, so it's a manual transmission. You're fine with the flywheel. The 88 318 is neutral balance as well, so you won't have any problem with the flywheel at all. But use the damper from the later motor. So use the flywheel from the early motor. Use the damper from the later motor. Hey, Don and Wendy English. Let's see. Uncle T, Brother Brian is down from Buffalo. Can I get a shout out for him? He's going to call out with us. Brother Brian, what's happening, brother man? Brother Brian.
Mopar Den. I saw your comment, Mopar Den. Mopar Den almost bought a car, but he took your advice and
Okay, you said, thanks for checking, nice checking the cowl turner. It was Ron and Bailey. Yeah, I told you. Yeah, that's the only real, on those cars, that's really the only place that, yeah, like telltale rust is on the cowl on those things. Okay, UTG, when bowl porting to the valve seat, what do you do when the short side hangs over? Is it okay to cut the bulge out to blow? Yes. Yeah, you can from the seat, you can come straight down, okay, on the short side there, and then just clean it, just blend it, but don't take any material off the radius itself. So you can make it round, make it perfectly round, but then don't go into the short turn at all. Just blend it gently. You know, you want to blend it smoothly, and you're fine. Mopar in 1978. Tony, for this 85 Buick 307 I'm working on, since we switched over to the older style HA vacuum assist distributor, what does the timing initial and total need to be? It's also missing its timing tab. Well, you need a timing tab. Right? I mean, that's important, right? Okay, all you do is, I'll tell you what, just Google the spec. Okay, so GM went to the CCC, right? That's the computer command control in 1981. So all you need to do is just look up the specs for 1980 and earlier, 79, 80 Buick, and there's your initial timing and whatnot.
Electroshock sent us an email.
Okay.
I did not see
I sent you an email a few days ago asking about my first 350 build. Just wondering if you might have time to take a look at the email another time. I'm sure your email is busy. You have no idea how busy the email is.
I haven't checked it in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Because we've just been so busy that I haven't had a chance.
Electroshock is his name.
I will check it.
Yeah. James will have, do I need to reverse the pistons in my 170 build? It's going to be a mostly street car. I don't need to do it. I do it. You know, you don't need to do it, but it'll help. Unless you're a big shot TV guy and then you don't believe that it would help. He just makes this stuff up as he goes along.
I thought you read Wikipedia.
Oh yeah, I do. I read Wikipedia.
Does it say in Wikipedia about swapping the pistons?
I don't know. We have to find out.
You have to check it.
Peter Kovacs, Tony, you have earned your PhD in automotive archaeology. A doctorate is in order. Thank you. John B., I have a Poly 318 forged crank. I have been told that it can be used in a 340 block if the pilot bushing hole is drilled. Is it true? Yes. All Poly 318 blocks are going to have the pilot bushing drilled. I've never, ever seen one that wasn't drilled for it. But here's the thing. 1962 earlier, 1961 and earlier, the Poly 318 uses an 8-bolt flange crank. Okay? Well, it's similar to the Hemi, except that they're not threaded. Those holes aren't threaded. It's for studs that stick through to the other side. So if the Poly 318 you have is 63 or newer, then yeah, it's a direct replacement for a 340. Stick it right in there. But the earlier one is going to have an 8-bolt flange, and it's not compatible with any of the later model torque converters. Okay, Tony, with a 308 gear open rear gear is going to a 241 open rear end carrier. On an 8, I assume you're talking about an 8 1/4 rear, Chrysler 8 1/4? No, the cutoff is it's they're two different carriers. You'd have to change the carrier. If you're talking about a GM or a Ford, I do not know. But if it's an 8 1/4 with the 241s, you have to change the carrier.
Truly Canadian. When did you decide to restore a classic car versus once you just get it running with modern parts? Is there a way to tell if a car has more value restored or not?
You're asking the wrong guy, because I personally don't use modern parts in anything that I would be putting together for myself. To me, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, you know what I mean? If you're inclined to do that, by all means, go ahead and do it. But I'm not the right guy to ask because I don't use modern parts. I work with error correct stuff. You know what I mean? And again, see, that doesn't mean that I'm down on it, right? It's cool if you do it. It's cool if anybody does it. And I watch, I listen, I follow builds and threads and stuff like that. I have an interest in it, but me myself, I wouldn't do it, so I can't really answer that question for you fairly. Okay. What question did I answer, Super Duper David Morgan? I guess you're happy, but I have no idea what the question was. It's all a blur to me, bro.
You don't want general bad advice.
Yes, generally bad advice, absolutely. Electroshock. Also, my Chevy 350 builder, I'm wondering what is the best way to step up to my HEI distributor for a snappy daily driver or set up. I watched the daily driver video, just wondering about my application. Yeah, it's simple curving. I'll tell you what, just and I can't give you the specific how to do this, right? But just real quick, easy search is all you want to do. Is you want to limit the mechanical advance on the thing to between like 15 and 20 degrees, right? So you want to set it up for, let's just say 35 total. Okay, that's going to be close. That's going to be close. You want to set up for like 35 total. You want to have like between 15 and 20 initial. Okay, and that'll make the car easy to start. It'll idle smooth. It'll be really snappy when you hit the throttle. So you want to do is you just want to narrow the advance curve down so that you've only got between 15 and 20 degrees total, between initial and total, and that's your best overall way to do it.
Grant Hudson is a 68 Firebird. Want to put a Hemi in it? Which one would you recommend?
68 Firebird. Why do you want to put a Hemi in it? There's so many cool Pontiac motors. Don't put a Hemi in it. Don't put a Hemi in it. No. Build a Pontiac for it. Well, all right, if you want to put a Hemi in it.
Which one would you recommend?
Well, what are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to achieve? If you want the novelty of a Hemi, right, go to first gen, right? Throw a 354, 392 in there, right? It'll have all the look, it'll have good power. Yes and no, they're not that bad. John Wilburn's about to do a DeSoto Hemi. So you can follow along on John Wilburn's channel. He's like I said, he's doing a DeSoto. So that's if you just want the shock value of having a Hemi. When you open the hood, it's like a Chrysler motor in it, right? And they're beautiful motors, they're like jewels. If a second generation Hemi, like a 426, not worth doing. It's just the cost of. You're going to be into that motor for like $20,000-$25,000 by the time you're done sticking it all together. The prices on simple things like plug wires is obscene. And a third gen would probably be the wisest choice. If you have to have a Hemi in your Firebird, I would put you want to have a car that you on your Firebird, right? Put one of them overhead cam Sprint 6s in it. Right, with the 4-barrel motor, the 4-barrel oil, find one of those and put it in there. That would be cool. Why does the starter struggle to turn over when the ignition timing is too advanced? That's a good question, Tedesco. When you've got the timing advanced to where the motor's running best, okay, where your total time would be, let's say 34 degrees, and you lock it out there, you're firing the spark plug, you're firing the mixture 30 degrees, 34 degrees before the piston gets to the top. Well, if the engine is not rotating fast enough, I'm trying to see. I've got the movie of it playing in my head, right? If the motor isn't rotating fast enough, lighting it beforehand is got a pressure pulse happening before the piston gets to the top. And the starter is trying to rotate. You see, notice basically the ignition, the pressure pulse is fighting against the piston coming to the top because it's not rotating quickly enough. It's only rotating on starter. Does that make any sense? Patrick Ponce, what do we think of new Mopar? To me, new Mopar is no different than new Toyota or new Kia or new Hyundai. You know, like I have no allegiance to anything having to do with the modern, you know, and it doesn't mean that I'm down on them. Just in my mind, there's no difference between a new Challenger or Charger or whatever the hell they build these days and a, you know, Toyota Corolla or a Kia Sorento. It's all, to me, it's all the same stuff. Super duper Dave one. Can you just raise a cylinder to top dead center and change the stem seals without the valve falling into the engine? No, because there's still going to be fill the cylinder with rope. That's what I've always done. I know a lot of people use compressed air. They like to use a compressed air. I always keep my toolbox. I always keep like just length of like clothesline, like laundry line, right? Clothesline, and just feed that into the cylinder. Take the spark plug out, right? Rotate the motor so the piston is down. Let's say halfway, you know, down the bore. Fill that cylinder with rope, and then rotate the motor until the piston comes up and it compresses the rope against the valves, and then you could do whatever you want. Jason Vale, just blew up my 72 400 Roadrunner. What do you think I should put in there? A 400.
You didn't even say that.
Like, I don't even have to think about that. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the ultimate no-brainer question, right? I'll put a 400 back in it. Mike Foley, just fixed my 97 Nissan hardbody timing chain, cut housing, and put water in oil. Okay. Fixed runs, top end now noisy. Best way to clean innards, motor flush, okay. Okay, if it's a matter of water contamination, right? If you run that engine, if it's just got a small amount of water in there, I mean, yeah, obviously change the oil and get the muddy, right, part out of it. But if you've got a small amount of water mixed in with the oil, okay, if you just run that thing, let it sit in idle, or just take it for a nice cruise or whatever, that water is going to boil out of the you know, it's going to boil out of the system. Don't worry about it. If you, like I said, small amount of water. So let's just say you got like, I don't know, you have 5 quarts of oil, and let's just say you've got like half a cup, right? Like a half a coffee cup of water, and you just pour it into the crankcase. It'll get mixed in with everything else, and as the engine is running, it'll boil away, right? So, and you know, within a few miles, it'll all be gone. So that's. Jeff Hagan, looking at getting a 71 Duster with a 383. Pics look awesome. Seller says it's a really good straight car. If I go look at it, what are the most common issues to watch out for? Thank you. Jeez. Common issues. Well, I mean, you know, there's obviously the common issues of quarter panel rust. Watch the video we did on a Chrysler Unibody. We did it like 2 weeks ago or so. And that shows the common areas on A and B bodies where rust happens and why it happens there. I don't know, maybe somebody could put a link to that video. The only other thing I would say is because it's a swap. You know, the motor wasn't born with a 383, so it's a swap. I would look over all of the swap things, make sure it was done cleanly. You know what I mean? That somebody didn't just like cut up hunks of angle iron and like weld them in all different positions and jam it together. You know, make sure that the motor is sitting where it's supposed to sit, 1 3/4 inches to the passenger side. Other than that, man, you just got to fly by the seat of your pants. when you rebuild an engine, how do you balance it at home? Why would you need to balance it when you rebuild it? Next.
Sorry.
Oh.
Hang on. They're talking amongst themselves.
Yeah. Well, let me answer that question a little bit better. Okay, Charles. If you're rebuilding an engine, right? So let's say you've taken this motor down and you're refreshing, you're putting all the rings and bearings and whole thing. There's not a reason to balance it. If you're replacing the pistons with ones that are slightly lighter, there's no reason to balance it. If you're replacing the pistons with some that are slightly heavier, you may want to balance it. But basically, and we're talking about a rebuild. We're not talking about a custom engine. We're not talking about a high RPM race engine. We're talking about a rebuilt engine. Generally speaking, the production tolerances, balance tolerances of the parts that are going to be used are going to be within the range of what it's factory balanced for. So there is no reason to balance it. Matthew Kelly, I got 305 straight pipe. Any suggestion on how to make it not so lazy? You're probably lean, right? You're probably lean. Is the motor stock? What carburetor is on it? Because generally speaking, what happens is you knock the exhaust off this thing, and now you're flowing more air through it, right? There has to be enough fuel added to that air to make it feel right, to make it feel snappy. Also, it depends on the computer control for this thing too. If it's a CCC, if it's 1981 or newer, and it's got the computer command control, or any variation of that, any of the computer controlled engines, you're going to have you're getting a different reading from the oxygen sensors, right? And it's gonna throw the computer off. You've got to have it tuned if it's computer controlled. Tony, is the Miata getting a manual or auto? Or keeping the rear different suspension? It is going to a manual, but not right now. Right now, it's going to get the 170 and an automatic to get the car running. Okay, when we redo everything, yeah, I'm keeping the rear diff for now. It's the small one. I want to upgrade it to the later, the 1.8, and get like a 360 gear in there because it comes with a 430 gear. And it's got a very small, it's got a 6-inch ring gear. So I'll be upgrading the rear end to the later 1.8 version, right? The rear. For right now, it's getting the basically stock 170 with the 2-barrel intake on it and a torque flight. When we do the motor, I'll also put a manual trans in there. It'll probably be a 5-speed, a T5, because I know those transmissions. The one. 340 with an overheating issue. I took the car out. It seems to be running well, but as soon as I go over 30, the engine shakes bad. Think timing, but if I adjust the timing lower, the heating issue returns. Well, I mean, the shaking is going to tell you something here. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that screaming head gasket at me here.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick. I still want to know a question I answered for.
I don't know. I'm sure it was better advice.
Absolutely.
Let's see.
Is PAW? No, PAW has been gone for generations. Lobo, Tony, what's your favorite tires on a classic Mopar? Polyglass. I love polyglasses. Why do yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just yes.
Just yes.
John Wilbur's going to be here on the 30th. He's talking to Tasman.
Oh, excellent. We shall prepare for the arrival of John Wilburn.
Prepare.
Yes.
Sure, it's easy to do.
Ever worked with Oldsmobile 372 or 394 engines? Anything to say about these? I have a 394 that I need to get through soon. I never did any hot rod work on those engines. Yeah, I worked on them. Those were when I was a kid. When I first started as working as a mechanic in the 70s, those engines were common. They were all over the place. And yeah, I worked on a ton of them, but I never did any hot rod stuff on them. What do I say about them? One of the smoothest engines I can ever remember. You could idle those things down to like 400 RPM and just watch the fan blade go like this, and they were just like smooth, beautiful, perfect throttle response on those. I remember those well because they were so. Okay, this is going to sound like crazy. Like okay, maybe you're not going to associate this word with engines, okay? But those engines, when I think of those engines, the word that comes to my mind is natural. It just feels like a natural motor, like it's supposed to be. So yeah, I like them, but I'm not familiar with their guts. Rick asks, do I harm my stock 69 225 with solid lifters if I go all the way to 6,000 or 4,000 RPM and torque? Nah. Not holding it too long, though, but still. No. I mean, wait a minute. You got a 69 225 and you're going to 6,000 RPM in fourth gear. Is this engine in like a belly tank lake stir type of thing? Or because there's no way. There's just no way you're going to make enough horsepower to turn 6,000 RPM in a full, like a regular full car at 4,000, in fourth gear in with a 225. It's just not going to happen. Tristan McLean, I just bought a 68 Impala 4-door hardtop 327. Nice, congratulations. With the intention of being a daily, I know you're a Mopar guy, but what do you think? Are there typical issues with the 327? The 327, those early small journal, that's not a small journal actually, that's a later large journal. Those 50s and 60s small block Chevys are just the most perfect engines. And that car there, that 68 Impala, is an ultimate daily driver. The only thing is, maybe gas is going to be a bit of an issue, right? Because that's not going to sip gas no matter what you do. But man, that's a great car for a daily driver. Good luck with it. Paul, do you think you'll ever get back into motorbikes and Project Sausage Creature? Paul from Scotland. Paul, no, man. Honestly, it's a sickness I need to keep away from myself. I love bikes. Okay, but I'm so wrapped up with all of the stuff that we've got going, and I got this ADD thing. It's really bad. So I just hyper focus, right? And I have to, and the bikes just take me off the path. So for right now, no. Jacob Marshall, 67 D100 stock 383 with a 600 Eddie. You need a bigger carburetor, bro. 727, 8 3/4, 355 original drivetrain. Runs well, thinking of a thermal quad. Any gains over the block? Yes. Anything is going to give you gains over that 600 on a 383. That Pro 383s, they want carburetor, okay? Yeah, thermal quad would definitely be a good choice. Anything in that 750, 800 range is going to be a big improvement. Andrew Ebersole, working on my first Mopar at 17. Congratulations, my brother. It's a 318 with hooker headers and an Edelbrock Streetmaster intake. What carb should I slap on top? Before you think about the carburetor, you're going to have to put a cam in there, okay? Because that's going to be your bottleneck in with that engine. And I would say look for something here. Okay, here's what you do, right? Look up the specs for a 1968 340 4-speed cam. Okay, look up those specs. Then check the different cam manufacturers and find somebody who does a cam similar to that. Okay, and do that. Then find a 750 vacuum secondary and stick that carburetor on there, and you'll be good. Make sure you curve the distributor. Curving the distributor is super important. Okay, it's a package. So you can't just like bolt one thing on one thing. You have to make it all work together. Okay, so cam, you want something that's very similar to the 1968 344 speed cam. Curve the distributor. You want like no more than 20 degrees of total of mechanical advance, and you want total at about 34 degrees or so. And you want a 750 vacuum secondary carburetor on top of that. If it's an automatic, I'm assuming it's an automatic. You'd want a mechanical secondary carburetor if it's a stick. I hope I answered that for you, Andrew.
Thank you, Joseph.
Oh, thank you, Joseph. It's a super sticker.
It is a super sticker.
Yes.
John Boston, does head bolt torque need to be increased if increasing compression ratio?
No. HO Power Source, would you ever do a first gen Dakota? I like those. Out of all of the Dakotas, the first gens are the ones that I like the most. I have no intention of buying one and building it myself. If somebody was to come to me, just like Andy with the Hemi GTX, if somebody was to come to me and say, hey, I have a first gen Dakota and I want to do some crazy stuff with it, I would say, get that thing to my shop and let's start cranking on it. So, that's the best way to answer it, and really that goes for like any cool project, it doesn't matter what it is. I wish somebody would bring me a Chevy. I would love to do, any of this stuff. So, but yeah, the first gen Dakotas are really the only ones I really like out of the line of Dakotas.
Joseph Andrews says, please look at my post.
Okay, I'm looking at it.
I don't know what it says. I'm trying to find his post. For all the videos? Is that it? I'm sorry, Joseph. You can say what it was again. I'll look for you. You go to the bottom here. Wait, I'm missing stuff. I'm really behind. Oh, Chris Hunt. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I have never driven a stock Miata. I've never driven a stock Miata. I will. I just know, but I don't know anybody with one that I could drive.
Here he is, Joseph. You're a legend.
Thank you, Joseph. Oh, okay. She keeps losing traction at takeoff. That's a problem. Spinning ain't winning. How do I improve that running 235? 235 is the tires. How do you improve that? Oh, man. Joseph, I mean, that's such a loaded question. Like,
Don't give him bad advice.
I'm trying to give him good advice, but there really isn't nearly enough information to give him like any type of valuable advice. I mean, tire pressure, spring rate. I mean, and El Caminos, they're a little light in the ass, because it's a pickup bed, so the weight distribution on those cars is a little tough. For an El Camino, right, or Ranchero, any of those cars that have, getting weight to the back is important. Weight behind the axle. If you can relocate the battery, Joseph, it's hard for me to answer that question. You know what I mean? It's just such a complicated question.
Chris Ponce is saying you should drive it before you mess it up with the Slant 6.
Why? No. It's what I want, man. I want. Look, it could be much worse than a stock Miata. I don't think it will be, but it could be. But it's fine because it's what I want. I want to open the hood on a Miata and find a Slant 6, and I want to build a 170. Right? It's to me, it's a natural. Right? A sports car engine in a sports car body, and I'll make the best of it that I can make of it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mark Washburn 66 Charger, 476 stroker, 323 gears, running 3,000 RPM at 70 miles per hour.
Okay.
727 trans is there an auto 4-speed trans that will handle 500 plus horsepower and get the RPMs down the highway.
Paging John Wilburn. Paging John Wilburn. Mark, John is going to answer that question for you.
Thank you, JD. How about throwing us C-Bike fans a bone someday and give one some love on your channel?
I just did that 65 Fury the other day, and tomorrow he's coming back, and we're going to rebuild his carburetor. So yeah, you got some C-Body stuff coming. CW, please talk to the owner of the 67 GTX into going through the engine. I think the damaged cam bushings might tell a story about the rest of the engine. Well, no, the cam bearings were replaced. The cam bearings, they're new cam bearings, but they've got the telltale scuff marks of a hole that isn't quite round anymore, which is normal, believe it or not. I know it sounds crazy, but it's actually normal. And it's the reason why I avoid changing cam bearings whenever it's possible. And it has nothing to do with who installed them or how they were installed. Anybody who tells you that, oh, they have to be put in just a certain way, it's just full of shit. It doesn't make any difference. Over the course of the block's life, the shifts, the front to back now is 300-pound hunk of cast iron is going to move 1,000th of an inch, right? Okay, here and there. And what happens is it shows up in that main line of the block where the cam bearings are. And so the original bearing, right, as the engine is running, that shifting happens very gradually over the life of the engine. And so the cam bearing will conform to the shape of the cam and the shape of the block, and it's all good. When you replace cam bearings, now you're starting with a fresh bearing in a non-perfect line, okay? And now it's a crapshoot as to whether or not the cam is going to go dry and hot enough to grab the bearing and spin it, right? Which is a very common thing that happens when you change cam bearings. So that said, it's fine. I believe the cam bearings are fine. We took the oil pan down. We checked everything up inside the block. Everything was inspected for cracks, tightness. We looked at bearings. Everything looks good in there. So I'm confident that the cylinder walls have brand new pistons in there. The crosshatch looks good. There's no marks on the cylinder walls. So we're going to call that good. I think she's okay. Alan McElroy, if initial timing is 10-12 degrees advanced and running 91 octane with factory 901 compression and still get ping, spark detonation, how much to pull back late? I don't know what that means, pull back late. If initial timing is 10 to 12 degrees advanced. We don't know how much timing you have built into the centrifugal weights, right? So that engine could have, let's say, 25 degrees of centrifugal advance. So if you're at 12 degrees, that gives you 37 total, right? So I can't tell you how far to bring it back. What I can tell you is to narrow the curve, right? Take the distributor apart and curve it and narrow the curve so that you let's say the optimum total timing on your particular engine is 34 degrees, right? You narrow the advanced curve down to 20 degrees, and now you start your initial at 12 to 14, and you'll get that snappiness, and it won't ping. You got to narrow the curve. Sinola Gang. Uncle Tony, what's happening? I have a 68 Impala 4-door, no post. Okay, it's hard top. Oh yeah, nice. With a 307. If I drive it like my mom, it runs smooth, no problem. If I step on it hard, it stops. There's a nasty grinding sound and the car stalls out. Help. Oh man, I don't know. Nasty grinding sound and the car stalls out. What are you looking for?
No,
What?
go ahead and answer.
Geez, I don't know. Can you describe the grinding sound? Hang on. Uncle Kathy is. What do you want?
No, nothing, I'm good. Yeah, answer his question.
I answered it to the best
Grinding sound.
I have no idea what the grinding sound is that's making it stall. No, that's
I'm looking, they're talking to each other.
okay.
Oh, I'm gonna wait the hell. Hang on. Talking to Ari. Hang on. Okay, Pizzle says, I don't think that Hemi Lorenz is any good.
I guess you've used all of your psychic powers to peer through time and space and penetrate the walls of that block. And thank you, Pizzle. Thank you.
You looked it over really well.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything because he doesn't think it's any good. Jesus, I'm going to have to consult with Andy, and I think we're going to have to not only rethink our approach to this engine, but actually our entire realities. Thank you.
If you can't do that, then that's a problem.
I can't do what?
Peer into things.
I can't do that. No, but Pizzle can.
Just joking, Pizzle.
I'm not joking.
Are you grinding your teeth?
Oh, no. I'm just rethinking my my whole purpose. Okay, what do we got? The gangster. Tony, thanks for you. Thank you. It's all good if it's hard to find elsewhere. I try, man. I try to be useful. You know, YouTube tells you, right? You know, offer a service. You know, perform. You know, give a valuable thing. You know, so we take that to heart. You know, if we're going to take your time, we want to try to make sure that you get something out of it that you can actually use.
Super duper David Morgan, New Oregon wants to know what's the difference between a Chrysler 727 load flight automatic?
Nothing. That's just
standard 27.
It's just the name of it.
Okay, he's saying the rest of it's junk. Why wouldn't that be junk too? He's asking a legitimate question.
Pizzle, it's not the engine was assembled by a machine shop. Right, I've got all of the receipts for the work that was done, the list of the work that was done. I went through all of that. The engine itself, right, in and of itself, removed from the car, is in good shape. They missed a little bit on push rod length. Yeah, okay, big deal. You know what I mean? But the actual assembly of the engine itself looks good. All of the parts look good. We had the pan down. We were up inside there. There's no cracks in the main lines or anything like that. The bearings look good. Everything is tight, torqued the way it's supposed to. The cylinder walls look good. There's nothing in the block that's like, you know, magical. You know, it all looks fine. But the motor now put in the car, and then all of this stuff gets put around the engine. Well, that's where the problem is.
So the machine shop did a good job.
The machine shop did a good job on the you know, on the engine.
Oh, what's going on? Crazy car.
Christopher Bork, I got a 63 Dodge Polara convertible, nice car, with a 383 and push button trans. I need to reinstall the trans as it was not in the car. Any tricks I need to be aware of for installing a push button 27? No, I mean, no tricks. Geez, I can't really think of anything funky about it. And all of the information you would need to find on the push button 727 and installing the cables and doing all that, you can find that online. There's YouTube, you know, videos on that. There's so much resource on that. Just Google installing you know, push button transmission cables, you know, Mopar transmission cables, and you won't believe how much information, good information is out there. It's not a big deal. You'll do fine with it. Okay, let's see. New comments. All right. Doug Nogman, for dual quads, does matching carbons matter? Same type of, oh, wait here. Okay. Does matching carbs matter? Same type, of course. I had a guy tell me at Dragster today to buy new carbs and make sure they are sequential serial numbers so they're from the same lot. Jesus Christ. When I read a question like that, right? When I read a question like that, the only thing that I can really think of, right, honestly, is where is the giant fucking asteroid that's supposed to extinguish all life on this planet because it's way overdue.
What happened? Did I miss something?
The question is up there, Doug Norden.
Oh,
All right, let's go to a different question.
what happened?
Read this.
Okay, Badoo Quest says, match carbs matter. Same type of course. When a guy told me at drug ship today to buy new carbs and make sure they're all sequential serial numbers so they came from the same lot. He's playing with you.
I don't know if he's playing with me. There's a lot of people that are like that out there, man.
Funny. Let's see. He starts racing. Dennis, a question. Thoughts on timing chain versus timing gears?
The timing chain. Use a timing chain. Timing gears are good for drag cars, extremely high RPM things, for a street car, right? Chain. There's a reason why timing chains have been used since, the beginning of time.
Kerry Worthington.
Okay.
Hi from the UK.
Hey,
Mate.
me.
76 460 elite mile count. Hooker header, dual plane, etc. Will the 750 Holly with mechanical secondaries work with the FMX trans?
Yes, it'll work. The 750 Holly is the mechanical secondary 750 Holly is actually undersized for that 460. Yeah, it'll work. You'll be okay. I'm assuming that it's not a drag car. You're just looking for something that's just fast, fun street car type of thing, and yeah, that'll work fine, man. Kerry.
Oh no. Doug says he's serious. It just seems odd. It's odd that somebody would say something like that.
Yeah, no, I know you're serious, man, because people say crazy stuff like that.
That's crazy. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Okay. Jacob Cates, I've got a 68 Charger, General Mayhem-esque type car. What engine should I use for my stash? 400, 383, 440, 340. If I use a 340, I'll have to rethink my 70 Duster. Man, I would say the 383 is probably, the 383 is the beat it and you can't break it motor. You know what I'm saying? I would probably, if it's a General Mayhem type of car and you're going to use it in a General Mayhem type of way, so you're going to go blasting around and doing donuts and can't go off road and all this other shit, go with the 383. That's why I'm using the 383 in the Slag Hammer. Zero named it for us. That's why I'm using a 383 in our Gambler 500 build, because it's just the kind of engine that you could just hammer it and beat it and everything else, and they just keep coming back for more. So that's the engine that I would use, Jacob. 70 Cuda 70 GT. Can you have a block line board to true up the cam bearings? Here's the problem. That's a good question. Okay, and I'll tell you why. When the bottom end of the engine, when the main saddles are out, okay, you can line bore it. And when you line bore it, you take a material off the saddle. So you're going to open it up. You're going to take material off the caps and then true it, okay? But you don't have that option with cam bearings because a cam bearing is the journal is one piece. You can't, if you open it up, you have no way to close the hole again to the factory size, the same way you would on the bottom end. And there's no such thing as and you can't, the cam bearing external diameter only comes on one size. At least for the Mopars, maybe there are oversized cam bearings for other engines, but for the Chrysler products, no. What it is what you get. So you can't line hone it, you can't line bore it, you can't do anything like that. Plus, they're different diameter. See, when a lot of people don't realize this, main saddles, okay, directly underneath, are all the same diameter. Your main bearings are all the same diameter, but your camshaft journals are all different diameters. They start biggest at the front, and as you go down the motor, they get smaller and smaller and smaller. So you can't pass something through there and screw it up. That's the problem with cam bearings. And this is what a lot of people don't seem to understand. It's like they think, oh, cam bearing, just throw cam bearings in it. No, it's not that simple. And there are no repairs that you can make to the block to fix one that's out. So cam bearings, when you change cam bearings, especially on an older engine, you are really taking a gamble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks, Ajax. My engine stopped working. What should I do? I tried hitting it with my purse, but no change. Should I convert to electronic ignition? Mozzarella. One word. One word. Now you figure out how it fits. Okay? And maybe that guy who can peer into engine blocks, maybe he can put you in the right.
Does this check the EGR?
Yes, and check the EGR and make sure it has sequential numbers.
Right.
Right.
Jonathan Pope. I got a Ford 460 big block and 93 F250 with OBD1. How limiting is OBD1 for performance? Should I just put a carb on it? I'm 20 and this is my first project. Thanks.
OBD1 is not very limiting for performance. The easiest way for you to do it is put a carb on it. Simplest way is to put a carb on it. 93 460. They made a 460 in 93? Just shows you where I'm at. I would put a carb on it, John. I would put a carb on it. Atomic face punch. I like that. So I just ported my first set of heads, 452s. Thinking about having them milled to raise compression. Is it safe to cut the intake face of the head to keep the angles right, or do I cut the intake? I would cut the heads. Because if you cut the heads to match, then you could swap intakes, whatever it is you want to do down the road, you don't have to give it any consideration. Definitely cut the head. Don't cut the intake.
Thanks, Dirty Knobs.
Do you need sequential tires in order to go straight? Possibly. I mean, I would want to make sure that they were assembled by the same, they were handled by the same guy, and they were all delivered on the same truck. Very important.
Tom Wilburn says, weird hour came early tonight.
Yeah, we're only on it for 112.
Jason T. What would cause an occasional repetitive rough idle that kicks in every 15 seconds or so?
Oh, good question. I love that question. Because that's the kind of like troubleshooting that, oh man. Okay, repetitive rough idle that kicks in every 15 seconds or so.
I heard that was Mrs. Landy, didn't I?
Yes. So the motor's going, and then every 15 seconds it goes, and it goes, right? I'm assuming that it runs fine otherwise, okay? Because you would say, yeah, as it starts misfiring so I'm going to say it's not going to be an ignition thing. It's going to be something that's it's going to be vacuum related. It's going to be something that's
This is Landy's problem.
I'm trying to remember.
It took you a long time to find it. It was a recurring thing.
Yeah, the intake manifold gasket.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a vacuum related thing. I'm pretty sure. If it was ignition related, you would know as soon as you drove the car, you would feel it, and you're saying it's only idle. So I'm going to say, and see, it depends on the car. Okay, if it's an EGR equipped car, something could be opening the EGR valve intermittently at idle speed, and that'll give you an intermittent rough idle. I've had PCV valves that act weird and will give you an intermittent rough idle. Smooth rough, smooth rough, smooth rough. It's going to be vacuum related. Almost guarantee it.
Thank you, Sniper Pro Nerf Mods.
Thank you. Chevy 350 with 400 crank. What CFM carb needed? My rule of thumb is to always double the cubic inch, and that's your starting point for carburetor. So the 350 with the 400 crank gives you a 383. Double the cubic inches, you're looking at 800 cubic inches, 760 cubic inches. So start at a 750 Holley and 800 Edelbrock. That's in that range. Remember, there's about a 50 CFM difference between the rate. So an 800 Edelbrock flows approximately the same as a 750 Holley. But that's where you would start. Start in that range, 750, 800 CFM.
Jay.
Can you use my 8 1/4 off my XJ Cherokee on an 89 fifth? No, it's not going to be a direct bolt in. You're going to have to weld perches on it, but yeah, I think so. Uncle Tony, thoughts about Predator carburetors? I have no thoughts about Predator carburetors.
Zero?
Zero thoughts about them. It's something I never mess with. There was never any reason to mess with them.
Goblin of Gigaxonar. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
I don't hear the Roadrunner with the 931 build date.
And you see, sometimes there's a question that pops up, and I really got it. No.
No? Me
No.
neither.
No.
I can already have.
931. That would be September, October.
931 September.
September
30
30.
days in September 20.
Oh, okay. Hey, I see what you did there.
That's not
I see what you did there.
I still caught it.
Can't get nothing past Uncle Kathy. Ultra Kathy.
Yeah, that's me.
I love this. I love this shit.
Let's see. Murtada Al-Hashmi. I hope I said that right. I'm looking for best EFI system for my big block engine with dual quad and blower on top. I'm chatting from Dubai.
Well, Murtada, and welcome from Dubai. I mean, you've already got dual quads, so you're looking to replace the dual quads with EFI. And I would say if your dual quad setup is working okay, you're not going to find any advantage going with EFI. I mean, I'm assuming you've got a Roots type of blower. You've got like a 6 or an 871 type of thing. And generally, most people run like a pair of like Edelbrocks streets, and you can't overcarburate with a Roots blower. So I would say just stick with what you got. Just tune with what you got. You're not going to find an advantage with EFI. Absolutely not. Oh, Hendo 335. That's Lee.
Oh, it is Lee.
Yeah.
Okay, answer this one first.
Okay. What does placement with an original Hemi engine from a 58 Dodge 700 truck be, and does it have any value? It's if the 58 Dodge 700 truck is going to have a 354 Chrysler in it.
So Hendo 337 is Lee.
Yes.
Damn it, Lee.
Damn it, Lee.
If you don't know what we're talking about, watch the last video. To the end.
The only thing it needs to be sequential with tail lights.
I know. I guess. Higher question.
Are 6.95 bias tires safe enough to drive on a lot on a 69 Barracuda? I love the original look and I want to drive it like that. I love the original look too. Yes, I think that they're fine. Assuming that they're not actual original bias tires, that you went to like Coker or something and you bought reproductions, yeah, they're perfectly safe. Don't worry about it. Don't listen to the people. Let me tell you, okay, go back to 1969 when that car was on the road. People were going around turns and flying off the road and bursting into flames and crashing off of cliffs, right? No, they run just absolutely fine. And the suspensions are tuned for that. So yeah, absolutely. Use them and good luck with them. And thank you for keeping a traditional look on a traditional car.
Caesar. Okay, greetings from Peru. I have a 71 Coronet with a 225 one barrel, 3-speed and 8.75. I have plans to upgrade 2-barrel, 833 and 355. Any recommendations for a proper rebuild for an aggressive response?
Oof. Okay. First, I love that. That's like our battle rocket, 71 Coronet with a stick. Okay. Caesar, I have plans to upgrade to a 2-barrel, 833 and 355. Okay, your problem here now is that car is going to be heavy, right? My car gutted, right? I mean, like this, I spent a lot of time getting weight out of it, is 3,036 pounds. If yours is complete, like driving down the road, like a regular car, that thing's going to be minimum 3,400 pounds, 3,500 pounds in that range, plus your weight. That's a lot to ask for from a Slant 6 to get any type of performance out of. I would recommend, by the time you're done spending money on that car, by the time on that engine, try to get it to go normally aspirated. So you upgrade to a 2-barrel, and the 2-barrel itself isn't going to make that much of a difference. The car's still going to be slow. I would recommend you look at like a turbocharger or like a Torque Storm, which is a great bolt-on kit. And in that car, you will have all the room in the world. You don't have to relocate the battery or anything. I would look to put a supercharger on it. You're going to spend about $2,800 US. It would cost you at least that much to get respectable performance out of a Slant 6 in that weight car. The rest of it, I think the 833 is a great choice. The 355 is a great rear for that. But if you're going to stick with the Slant 6, I would boost it somehow. I would definitely boost it.
It's probably the easiest now.
Yeah, it's cheapest, easiest way to go.
Yeah.
He would just be disappointed if you did all the typical stuff to a Slant 6. You know, you did a cam, you ported the head, you milled it, you got the compression up, you put 2-barrel on it, you put headers on it, you did all this shit. You're going to be disappointed in the way the car runs. I can tell you right now, because it's just, you're not going to get what you're looking for out of it. Boost it though, throw 6-7 pounds of boost at that thing, right? And that's really mild, and a stock engine will take it. And you'll think you're running around with a 340. That's the way to go.
Tony Massler.
Hey.
Hey Tony, I got a 1981 Camaro Z28. What just happened was when I went to start it, it cranks for half a second and then it dies. And I have no power to anything. What do you think? Fusible link? Thank you.
Could be a fusible link, but I mean, it could just be a bad battery connection. It could be a bad terminal connection.
We would have the Swinger.
Yeah.
The Swinger's doing the same thing.
Yeah, I would go over all your battery connections.
Esteban. I got a 91 K5 Blazer 350 TDI 4-speed. The truck had a misfire. I put new plugs, wires, cap, and rotor. The miss is still there. Any suggestions?
Is it a rhythmic miss? In other words, like, is it always there? You know, does it come and go at certain RPM? If you put plugs, wires, cap, rotor, and you didn't change it, and it didn't change the misfire, I'm thinking you want to start looking at cylinders. You may have a dead player. You may have a burned exhaust valve. I would do a compression test on the motor at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you. If I have my doctor replace my bad knee with a wheel, like Rosie on the Jesters, which is a good idea, I like that. Will I have to register with DMV? No. No, absolutely not.
Thank you.
No, but that is a good idea. My favorite waitress was named Rosie. You remember we were just talking about Rosie today.
She was very nice.
She worked in a Mexican restaurant down the street over here.
She was really sweet.
Yeah, she made every meal just a happy experience.
And then she
was
went away.
on the bill, you know they give you the bill. She would draw pictures on the bill. The smiley face and like the sun and like like a rainbow and shit like that. And all of a sudden she was gone. And it's like, best camp chef for SEALs for an RX-7. What's the bell?
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you, Harry.
Appreciate it. It's really sweet. Let me see. What happened? Just to let you know, your live chat keeps starting over by itself 2 times now. What?
I have no idea, Steve.
I will look on my phone and check that. Because that's weird. That's really weird. That shouldn't be happening. You're joking.
At what that's a good question. At what point does one on the uncle title so how come no Uncle Dallas, Uncle Buff? The Lady of the Lake. Should I even tell this story? No. It'll have to remain a classified UTG secret. Yeah, but there are definitely metaphysical aspects to the whole thing.
So I'm looking at my phone and it's not even showing that we're doing this live right now in the studio. So I have no idea what's going on. Maybe YouTube is glitching.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. I mean, we've done every single thing we could to please our reptilian overlords. So I don't see any reason. Yes.
Not me.
Well,
Maybe
I mean,
you.
as far as YouTube goes.
Oh, as far as YouTube
Yeah.
goes. Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Is that? Oh. Okay. Okay. Blue Line Abolitionist. When will you team feature a snow runner or clutch flight trans?
Let's get deep and weird. You call that deep and weird? Bro, I'll show you weird, okay? That's not weird. We'll get weird at some point.
Funny. Wait, I'm really behind. Sorry, guys. Here. Dakota. Let's answer a question.
Dakota! What has happened to my brother? Have you ever looked at a Corvette Crossfire intake? My dad bought one and it has, it's a freaking cross ramp. Yeah. Looks cool. Do you think you could make it perform okay on the street? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. They were doing that. It's a cross ramp. It's actually very close to the Z28, the 302 Z28 cross ramp from 1969. You'd be surprised. And yeah, you can run carburetors on that, and it will make tremendous mid-range power.
Jesse Walker.
Okay, you've got a Poly 318 with a YN 4-barrel intake, running an Enelbach 600 carb with the idea of swapping it to an 850 Thermoquad. What's the size difference, if any, of the primary ports between them? The 600, well, the Thermoquad has significantly smaller primaries. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't tell you what the size is, but I mean, significantly smaller. The 850 Thermoquad is actually a very good choice on that Poly 318.
Okay, Troy sounds like he's panicking.
Easy, Troy.
Don't panic,
Easy.
Troy. It's all okay.
Okay, come on, help. New build, no oil pressure. New pump, no blockage, all plugs in place. What is it? What kind of engine? Let's leave. Troy needs to have a hotline here. Okay. Yeah, Troy needs a hotline. Don't anybody answer any questions. Don't throw any speculation at this guy until he tells us what type of engine it is, and then we can go from there. Yeah.
Okay, here, thank you, Sniper. How much horsepower is a stock 350 bottom 2-volt whipboard?
That's an impossible question to answer because there's different types of power. It depends on detonation. If you get into an engine that has that runs into periods of detonation, then I mean you could kill a 2-volt bottom at 300 fucking horsepower. If you've got an engine that stays out of detonation, that makes smooth power, I mean 600, 700, 800 horsepower. You know, it just depends on how the power is applied to the reciprocating assembly.
Thank you, Anthony.
Okay, when you have to figure out push-rod length on the Hemi GTX, can you please do a video? Yeah, we will.
Okay, I'm looking for Troy's response. I'm all the way at the bottom. Okay, here he is.
Okay. 340 stroke to 416. Okay. So first question, Troy. There's a galley plug at the end of, oh God, I'm trying to think of which side this is now. The driver's side, there's a galley plug behind a plug at the back of the block. Are you sure that both of the galley plugs are sealed?
Let's see. Okay. He says in place.
They're in place. Okay. Dumb question. Did you pre-lube the pump? Does the pump have oil in it? You know, the gear lube, Vaseline, whatever you wanted to use. Does the pump? Did you pre-lube the pump?
He says yes.
Okay. You're getting no oil pressure cranking it, or is it running and you're not getting oil pressure? When you turn backwards, you can hear gurgling. Okay, good. So you started the engine and don't get any oil pressure? No crank, prime or crank, no pressure. So when you prime it and you've primed it both ways, you're still not getting any pressure. All right, guys. At this point, we can all jump in and throw some suggestions here.
Oil pressure sensor.
Well, I mean, okay. A crack in the pickup tube, or are you sure the pickup tube is threaded? Well, yeah. If see here's gurgling when he turns it backwards. Ran a couple of minutes, shot cam and cam bearings. So it ran for a couple of minutes and it doesn't have any oil pressure after it's run for a couple of minutes. Tube clean and clear.
Email says oil pressure is overrated anyway.
Oh, I really want to help this guy.
He says correct.
Troy, the only thing I can think of, right, is a stuck bypass in the pump. If you've got, if the circuitry, if the oil circuitry inside the engine is all sealed, meaning that you've got all the galley plugs in there, the lifters are blocking the oil, the lifters are in place, the bearings are in it, obviously. So all of the circuitry is complete, okay? And you're hearing a gurgling when you turn the pump. I'm going to say it's in the oil pump bypass is sticking open. What's the history on the oil pump, Troy? Was that oil pump in the motor when it ate a cam? Because I've had that happen.
Waiting for his response.
Yeah. I'm telling you, that's
Oil
what.
pump shaft broken, people are saying.
Well, he would know.
Yeah.
Troy, correct. What's correct, Troy?
What is it correct?
Brand new high volume pump.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, just because it's new don't mean it's good. Drop the pan, get that pump off of there. I'm telling you that if all of the circuitry, now, like, just think this through with me, okay? If all of the circuitry, the oil circuitry inside the engine, okay, it's arteries, the oil arteries, okay, if they're all sealed, so you assemble the motor and it's all together now, right? The only thing that could keep it from getting pressure is from the pump side, right? So like if you left an oil galley plug out, let's just say, right? Yeah, it's not going to build any pressure because all the oil is going to piss through that hole. If you left a lifter out, let's just say, it's not going to get any pressure because all the oil is going to piss out that hole. So if you've got zero pressure, but the circuitry is all completed inside the motor, the only thing it can be is the oil pump itself. I would say yank the pump.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Scott.
It's the thought that counts, my brother.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate that. Let's see. Who we got with it? Oil pump.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm going to say it's pump.
It's just so rebuilders told me a bad pump.
Don't blame the rebuilder. It's not his fault. He doesn't have X-ray. He's not a psychic. He doesn't have X-ray vision. But I'm going to say, check the pump. You're no dummy. You've been around the block here. You go through the process of elimination. You know what I mean? Go through the process of elimination. What do you have left? Check that oil pump. I'll almost guarantee you it's got a bad pump out of the box. I mean, if you still have the old pump kicking around, stick the old pump in and see what happens. Take it apart. You know what I mean? Take it apart, and it just, it's only those bolts. Take the steel cover off it and check. I mean, and you can check the new pump. If you take the cover off of it, you can see the bypass, and you'll see if it's sticking or not. Take the pump apart. Just take it off and take it apart. When you take the cover off of it, you'll see. You'll be able to.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with it, brother, man. That's the kicking, though.
I see that.
Yeah. What's happening, man? Got the idle issue straightened out on the Manchi today. Runs like a top, smooth as silk.
Very nice.
Excellent.
Congrats.
We put up the CB flag, and we got a lot of comments on that. People are like, yeah. And then we need the rest of the armed forces up on our wall.
Yeah. We'll hang the flags.
Yep.
And then there'll be a fight between them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we'll pit all of the government forces against you.
And he said Army versus Navy, so he's gonna bring us a flag, right?
Yeah. So I don't want flags of states. I don't want flags of businesses or anything like that. But if you've got a branch of the service that you want to represent on our wall, send it. We'll get you guys up there.
Thank you for that flag, Mike. It's really cool. That's the first thing we hung in there.
Yeah.
I will tell you, Lewis here from Australia. What year and what Mopar was the first to use ventilated front disc brakes?
Oh God. I know the answer to that question, and it was So C-body, it was um, I'm going to say the 1963 300. I don't know. We'll find out. So I'm sure somebody's got the answer to that.
Sure, John Wilbur knows.
I'm sure John Wilbur knows everything. Joe K, how do you manage having cars sit since you have so many, at least the ones that currently run and drive, battery tenders, everything? No, I just swap batteries around. I keep like 5 good batteries, you know what I mean, in various cars, and I just swap them from car to car. Wayne Ferguson, have you ever had an old rear flexible brake hose block up from age, etc.? Yes, I've had that many times, but no, it's not the problem with GTX.
Oh, nice. Mike says he saw the flag, loves the location. See me, the missus can dig you up other flags. Got a bunch floating around from different branches. Very cool. That would be awesome. Brian E. Evening. Anyway, the date distributor that's missing tab. Have a points distributor in 87D150, not so original. No, so not original. Points that I thought were right won't open enough to get spec'd well.
There's only one set of points. Oh, okay. So there's 2 different. Okay, you're only going to run into 2 distributors, points distributors. One is the dual point, the Prestolite cast iron base dual point. You don't have that one. The single point distributor is from 1960 to 1972, right? One set of points. There's only one set of points. If you can't get dwell out of it, it just means that the distributor itself is worn. The bushing inside the distributor is worn. Don't worry about the years or anything like that. But yeah, that's what's happened. So what's happened is you're setting the points, you're setting the point gap with the thing stationary. Now when you start it, the shaft moves and the dwell goes away. So common problem, very common problem. But that's what you got there. You have a worn distributor. You don't have don't worry about what year it is. Uncle Tony, how will the Miata pass inspection having a slant 6 in it? You know, with the whole Comper thing and all. I don't care if it passes inspection or not. I will take a plate off of a car that I have that belongs to me and stick it on the car, and I will drive the thing. And if I get a ticket, I'll just pay the ticket, and then that's the end of that. Because I just don't care, you know.
What is this, Kathy, Uncle Kathy, Ultra Kathy, Ultimate Kathy? Is my name changing again, Tony?
No, but
now?
Yeah.
What am I?
Ultra Kathy.
I'm Ultra Kathy.
Ultra Kathy.
All right, okay. I think you're confusing people.
Good.
Good.
Gotta keep them on edge, right?
On edge.
Yeah. What's gonna happen next, right?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, GTX is my favorite.
It's gorgeous. That car's so beautiful. We're gonna do a video tomorrow. We're not gonna do any more work videos on the car until next week when we start getting parts in. But we're gonna do a video using that car tomorrow on how to identify a Hemi car, an actual Hemi car. So we got it. We might as well use while it's in our hands. So we're gonna show the details of every single thing that make a Hemi car a Hemi car.
Mitchell Smith. Can you read that?
Yeah. I have a 5.0 Magnum that sounds like it has a lifter noise only when oil is hot and RPMs are over 3,000. Thoughts? You probably have a lifter noise when the engine is hot. I mean,
That's it?
yeah, that's my thoughts. It sounds like it has a lifter noise. Well, it probably is a lifter noise. When oil is hot, so the motor starts getting sloppy internally, right? The oil gets hot, it thins out. And you've got a lifter that's just weak enough that once the oil is thinned out, it just starts to bleed down. You know, the faster it cycles, the more it's going to want to bleed down. So try throwing a thicker oil, throw a can of water honey in there and see what happens. See if it quiets it down.
We're talking amongst themselves. Hang on.
Okay.
Here, here's Brian.
Brian, what's happening?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the points info. Okay. That means I'm probably going to replace it with electronic ignition distributor. Sorry. Well, that's okay. I mean, don't apologize to me. I don't have anything against electronic ignition. I just don't use them myself. But, I mean, yeah, go ahead and knock yourself out.
When, Tony? When?
Never. Just because of you, man. Just because you keep asking me that question. The answer is never. Never.
Chris, we're just so busy right now. Like, we don't stop moving. So I don't know when we're going to be able to do that. Eventually we'll get there.
Oh, okay. Tony, ever hear of a tap that shows up at low RPM, hot or cold, and goes away above 1500 RPM? Not on the Manchi. Yeah, I've heard about that too. It's just a sloppy lifter. It's just a sloppy lifter. The oil pressure goes up. The RPM comes up, and it's enough to support that lifter. So the tick goes away.
This is funny. We can't do that. Now, he really loves that car.
Yeah, first of all, I don't want to own it.
Right, yeah.
I love the car, but I also love that somebody else owns it. It's spending some time in my life now, and it'll come back around at some time in the future and spend some more time in my life. But I have zero desire to own it. I'm glad that he owns it, and he's a great guy. It's in the best hands it could really possibly be in. See, I couldn't give that car the love that it needs, the attention and love that it needs, but he can.
It's talking to one another. Lewis Katz.
Was the Aussie 1970 VG Valiant the first Mopar with square headlights? I don't know.
You don't know?
I do not know.
Yeah, we watched it.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Ben.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Ben.
Stanley's a really cool guy. That's Stanley Du Bois.
Yeah, Kathy talks to him. I don't know him, but she talks to him.
Yeah. He's a great guy.
Thank you, Need Metal.
Thank you, email. New Shop takes you to another level. Videos are much better to watch. We think so.
That's why we did it.
It's easier to do them. It's easier to film them.
That's why we did
I
it.
haven't fell or tripped on anything.
I mean, let's face it, right? We're in the
There's
video.
actually light in there.
We're in the video business.
Right.
If you're going to produce videos, you need a studio. It's just that simple.
Instead of a dungeon.
Right. So now we have a studio and we make better videos. There's cause and effect, but thank you.
Yeah, no.
Thank you for noticing.
They've improved, I think,
drastically. But now you see why we bit the bullet and took the chance.
Yeah. I mean, we couldn't do what we're doing now with the Hemi car.
Impossible.
We had stayed over there.
Impossible.
So it gives us a lot of options too.
Right.
Besides having much better visuals, and it's clean.
Right.
There's no dust. Nice.
We're getting a lot done on the project cars.
Oh yeah.
Where in the past, yeah, I'm cranking on these things. Where in the past it was like
harder to work on.
very hard to work on stuff. So now it's like we're moving fast on these things.
Yeah, you did all that welding in like 3 days on the Gambler car.
It would have taken me. It would have at the old facility.
Yeah, forget
It would have taken me 2 months to do what I did in 3 days.
Yeah. You can go there at night. It's got nice heat. It's got AC. Not that we would turn it on.
For sure.
For sure.
What's another bill?
What's another bill? Oh. Hunter's gas.
Okay, you got a 69 Roadrunner, and I can't get the brake system to hold air. Why would you want the brake system to hold air? Would it have a problem holding fluid? Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, so you're pressurizing the brake system with air. I'm sorry, I should have read the whole question before I started answering it. I'm sorry, Hunter. You can't get the brake system to hold air. Would it have a problem holding fluid? It barely has a leak, lost 2 psi in about 3 minutes. Well, I mean, but where is the leak from? I mean, it's got to be one of the wheel cylinders, right? Yeah, no. I mean, fluid and air are going to have two completely different dynamics. I would pressurize the system and listen for the leak. Find out where the leak is and go fix that leak. I've never thought of doing that. I mean, honestly, I'm a mechanic now. Let's see. I'm going to be 60. I'm doing this since I'm 16, right? 15, 14. So add those years up, and I have never thought. 59. I don't even know how old I am. It's all irrelevant. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I got like almost a half a century in doing this stuff, and I never once thought about pressurizing. And I'm going to try that. I never once thought about pressurizing a brake system with air to find a leak.
Thank you, Matt Moore. You're saying yes, the new shops is making better videos for delivery. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, we're having this. It makes life so much easier.
It's a lot easier.
So much easier.
Do you want to discuss this again?
What?
You gonna make a video about it?
Oh, Jesus.
Still going on.
I did a video. David Farber says your fist flips because of a wives' tale. What do I think? I think he's a wives' tale.
Let's see. Val Verstalker. Sanford Duster Slant 225, 1-barrel manual converted to 2-barrel with 904. Thinking about rear end swap with axle from 80s Ram Charger. Your comments?
I imagine 80s Ram Charger is an 8 1/4, but I don't. That Ram Charger rear is going to be like that's way overkill. Your 74 Duster with an automatic and a slant, stick with the 7 1/4. You will not have a problem. You will not hurt the 7 1/4. I run my 67 GT. You know, it's got a nice warm 273 in it. I got a 7 1/4 in that, no problem. Her daily driver, it's got a 360 in it, 7 1/4, no problem. Val, keep the 7 1/4 in your 225 1-barrel or 2-barrel automatic, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Glenn Everett, Master Machines. UT, you need to watch my episode on the Aussie Charger 265 heavy racer that makes 450 horsepower, naturally aspirated.
Glenn, I will do that. And you know why I'm going to do that especially? Because I've been thinking lately about doing a 4.0 Jeep motor somewhere in the near future. Because I have like a parts car that I've been thinking about doing something with. And I'm thinking about doing a 4.0, our Jeep motor here. And it's very, very similar to that engine. So yeah, I actually will watch that, and I'm going to watch that with great interest. Glenn Everett, Master of Machines, write that down so I can.
Yeah, I'll take a screenshot of it. I'll take a photo. Here, I'm going to take a photo so Tony remembers.
Yeah, because I have giant holes in my memory. It's really bad.
No, you just have a lot to remember.
I have a lot to remember.
Yeah, we'll definitely check that out. Christopher Egan.
Best car channel on YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Only the time. Have a small block Chevy 350, 330 horse Vortec heads. My plug's black and wet. Electronic ignition. Plug's capped at 60,000. Says I asking too much of ignition. Car runs fine. You're not saying what induction system you have on there. The plugs are black and, I mean, first off, say, 60,000 is a lot, man. I would close it down. I would close it down to like 45,000. Okay. And that's assuming you're running like an HEI on that, right? I would close it down to around 45,000.
To make the stuff work.
But that has nothing to do with the things being black and wet. Black and wet is it injected? Is it carbureted? I don't know, right? If it's injected, is it a MAP or is it a mass air car? I don't know, right? That's a fuel issue. It's not an ignition issue. So I would, and you say that the car runs fine. I'm going to assume your issue is going to be a low RPM. But it's look at your ignition system. Oh, your induction system. That's where you're going to find a problem there.
You're doing very bad.
Okay. All right.
The dogs are being terrible.
Okay.
They're fighting.
But I love them.
I know, they're good.
Yeah.
But they had a package of candy and they were about to brawl over it.
Uh-oh.
That's what they were doing. They stole a package of candy. Let's see.
Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
Dead air.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dead air.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch up. I walked away for a minute. Okay. Glove hand human. Thank you.
Glove hand human. Smell the glove.
Nobody knows what that's from. Maybe a couple people know what that's from.
Smell the glove.
Do you know what that's from, guys?
It's Motor Swaps. Started a channel, Glove Hand Human, as you suggest you're doing. Do it yourself, and I would super humbled if you guys would send some eyeballs my way. Love the new place. Go check out Glove Hand. You go smell this glove.
Smell the glove is from Spinal Tap.
Go check it out. Definitely, absolutely. Good luck with that channel.
Glove hand human.
Good luck.
Nice.
Good luck with your channel.
Everybody go over and see what he's got up.
Yes.
Jason T.
Will you sign a UTG sticker that I order so I can put it on my Mopar garage? Well, I can. I'm really not big on doing autographs and shit like that. But just make a note to her.
Yeah, just put it
I'll do
in a note. And we'll do it. I'll make sure he does it. Let's see. John Wilburn says, I have a free fully with a rod knock if you want it.
You notice they all have rod knocks. John, if it's free, it's for me. Yeah, I would definitely. I'm curious, man. I like inlines. There's just something about them that talk to me, right? And I'm really curious about what can be done with a Jeep motor. I have that Valiant parts car that's sitting at my old place. It's the same one.
I know, but I'm just saying, how many balance?
Well, no, it's not a matter of it's not the car, it's the engine. It's just that's a car I could stick that engine in and play around with it.
How many cars do you have to play around with?
I have Lee.
You have
I'm going to make Lee do it.
Oh, okay. It would be nice if I had a 67 4-speed something. Just saying. That would be nice. Hi, Rick S. What is the best place to order parts from? Like original style 1969 new Mopar ball joints, wheel brake cylinders, and such. I want to stay away from fake products.
You're going to pay through the nose for real stuff, man. I mean, give Tony D'Agostino a try. Be prepared to lay out some loot, right? Tell him I sent you, and he'll increase the price 10%. Tony's a very old friend of mine.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we get a break. You have to know Tony. You know what I mean? You have to know him.
We know
He's special, right?
You know since you what?
Like 18.
18?
Yeah. So yeah, check out Tony D'Agostino. Tony's Mopar Parts. He's one guy to look at. There's a few people who do in NOS stuff, but like I said, man, be prepared to pay.
Tony,
Hey,
Google sucks.
yes.
Please toss that garbage 426 in the GTX and put a 170 in it. By the way, why is your garbage day at the shop?
I'll make that suggestion to Andy and see what he says.
Yeah, right. Let's see.
Dead air.
I'm trying to find questions.
There's 509 people on here right now wanting
I'm
to
trying
hear
find
talk.
questions.
They want conversation.
Oh my goodness, some of them are repeats, so, here we go, let's see. I'm trying to read them fast, I don't even know what they're saying. What does it say?
Cameron, I'm about to toss up my 99XJ over the car. I'm about to swap my 99XJ over the car because of the shit 90s wiring and computer. Just need to wait 3 more years for it to be 25 years old in Virginia to do antique tags. There you go.
Let's see. Okay, let's see, age up.
For the retards asking what they did with the bad gas, they dumped it in the river. That's why the climate is changing. They are moving to California soon, and it's going to be UTG's Tesla. We dumped it. We found the freshest area, you know what I mean, and we dumped it there, you know.
We didn't. Don't worry about it, guys. Don't worry. Spinal Tap, yes.
Yeah.
Smell the glove. It's my favorite movie. Let's see. Uh-oh. Got a big problem.
Okay.
Gizmo 6. I have a problem. I paid big money for a rebuilt 350 Chevy, but I got no oil at the rockers. It's got great pressure at the gauge, and the pump works great. Help, please.
So you got no oil at the rockers. I mean, you got good oil pressure otherwise, but no oil coming up through the push rods because those engines oil through the push rods. So, are you sure you got the right push rods in there? Do they have a hole in them? Are you sure you have the right lifters in there? Does it have a hole in the center? Those are, I mean, that's how the rockers get oil, through the push rods. So your problem is going to be someplace in the lifter or the push rod itself. Those are the only 2 areas you could look at, assuming everything else that what you're saying is accurate, that it's got great pressure.
Ben Treese. I'm interested in buying an 82 Dodge Aries K custom sedan with a 2.2-liter Chrysler 4-cylinder engine and 5-speed 9-wheel transmission. 9 windows and door locks. What do you recommend me look for?
I can't tell you I can't recommend you look for anything, but the car is making me smile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I read as soon as it's 1982 Aries K with a 2.2 and a 5-speed. I'm like, I just started smiling. So I'm gonna just go buy it. Fuck whatever it needs, just buy it.
Oh, what you see? Uncle Tony Grant's holding me out.
The Moyada. We're gonna call it the Moyada. I just don't know how to spell that. Moyada.
M-O-A-T-A? It would be Moada.
Yeah, we want the ya. Moyada.
You'd have to put a Y in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how to spell it. But that's what I've started to call it in my own head.
Loving Humans. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with your channel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone go check out Loving Humans channel and see what's up.
Glove hand human.
Love Hand Human. Oh, thank you, UT. My dad Troy has been fretting over his stroker for weeks now. I know he really appreciates the help. It's good. Let's see.
Okay, UT, are the Hemi 392 heads are okay, or are the 354, 331 heads really better as some claim? Yes, they are. The 331 and 354 heads have a higher port. On the 392, they lowered the intake port. so it doesn't have as direct a shot at the valve. Where the 331 and the 354, the port is up higher and it's got a direct line to the valve. The 350, the 56 354 head is like the best of the bunch. You know, the first 2 years of 331 head are no good. They're just throwaways. The 54, 55, 331 and the 56 354 are the best heads of that bunch. But that's not to say that the 392 is a bad head. It's a good head. It's just not as good as the other ones.
Chris,
I know too much. Did you notice that?
you know too much.
I know too much. I shouldn't know all of this stuff.
Tony, the shop was the right move. More professional and productive.
Yes.
Getting better projects. Videos are nearly coming up 3 per week. 3 per week.
3 per week. Try again. We're doing one every day.
You're not getting notifications.
Yeah, we don't do a video when we do a live. The same time, like we don't do a video on Wednesday because we do a live from Dallas. We don't do a video on Sunday because we do a live here. But yeah, we do 5 videos a week.
And Kathy's upgrades to live streams. The channel is growing. Yeah, thanks, Chris. We appreciate that. But yeah, we've been
I take back anything mean I said to you, Chris.
Oh, Jonathan, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, Tony, when my O2 Forester's engine goes out, I'm going to shoehorn a slant 6 in it, but gonna need overdrive if I keep the rear diffs. The only gear ratio is 444 or 355. If I swap it to what the manual Foresters have.
Oh. Yeah, I think that we should start a movement where we slant swap the world. Okay? Right? We could start a movement. We could start a revolution, right? Where we slant swap the world.
Yeah.
Wouldn't,
Well, you guys do the thing where you can leave it. You didn't tell them about that.
I didn't tell them about it because
No, don't tell them.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I have
I'm
something.
gonna spoil it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it. But I have a really super cool thing to do. I want to try with a slant 6 soon. You're gonna love this, right? But yeah, let's start a movement, man. Let's slant swap the world. Let's put a slant 6 in every. That's my new cause. I think that's gonna be my new cause. To slant swap
You can't
swap
say
the world.
it
You can't
properly.
say it 3 times fast. Right? Slant swap the world. Slant swap the world. Slant swap the world. I did it. Okay. See, I'm not drunk.
Drunkle Tony.
Drunkle Tony is.
Let's see. Thank you, Wood Metal Garage. Uncle Tony, you have inspired me to start building Wood Metal Garage. Awesome. Could you give it a look, see sometime, and give me a shout out?
I will, but I mean, here, you're giving yourself a shout out. Shout out to Wood and Metal Garage. Go check out this man's work.
I'm gonna take a picture so we don't forget. Wood and Metal Garage. We'll check it out. Everybody go check out his channel.
As always, right, whenever we do these Sunday Night Lives, if you have a channel that you want to promote, you want to get eyes on, do it here. This is, and you don't have to send me super chat to get a fucking shout out. It's not necessary. You see, you're gonna do it, and I appreciate it. I honestly do, but it's not necessary. If you've got a channel that you're looking to promote, you know, get it up here. You know, I always say a rising tide raises all ships, right? So get some eyes. Feel free to take advantage of my audience and get some eyes on your channel.
Hey, I'm looking. Did I read Jonathan Couch's super chat?
I do not
Saying
know.
that I missed his super chat. I'm trying. We got it, Jonathan. We got that one. That was the overdrive. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm
we're
way behind, guys.
gonna slant swap the world.
What are we doing?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm trying to. Okay. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to catch up here. Wow, comments.
Yeah, it's rocking
I'm
along
trying
now.
not to miss anything. Okay, because get raincoats.
Raincoats, thank you.
Thank you, raincoats. 350 small buck with a set of heads and a thumper cam. We just reset the valve lash after having some issues. Now our idle's at 2,500.
Huh.
Any ideas? It also has a 4K skull converter, which I think is overkill.
I can't really give you an opinion on whether or not your converter is overkill or not because I don't know the combination. I know the 2,500. That's a problem. Um, you're saying that it won't idle less than 2,500? Is it pulling air from a? I mean, Raincoats. I wish I could. I mean, you paid for an answer. Wish I could give you one. So, heads and a thumper cam. We just reset the valve lash after having some issues. Now it idles at 2,500 RPM. Any ideas? I'm gonna guess that you may have overdone it with the lash, and you're not getting any low end cylinder pressure because the valves aren't closed long enough. I would say go back. Okay, go back and reset the lash. I don't know how you set the lash on a Chevy. What I do is I back them off, right? Okay, so set your initial lash like this, right? Loosen all the rockers so they're just flopping around, okay? Then on each one, okay, take the push rod. Obviously the cam's got to be on a space circle. Take the push rod, okay, and go up and down with it. Go tick 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 as you tighten down the rocker. When you get to zero, when there's nothing there, okay, stop and then go to the next one. Then start the engine. Okay, so all of your rockers are going to be adjusted. They're all going to be adjusted on the loose side. Okay, start the engine, back each rocker off until you hear ticking, tick, 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 and then tighten it till the ticking goes away. Once the ticking goes away, go a half turn. Call it a day. That's it. You're done. Go back and set the lash that way and see if you can get a normal idle from that point. I hope that helps.
Bryce says it keeps saying slant swap.
Slant swap. That's what I'm saying. I tried it, but I did it. I did it successfully 3 times. Slant swap, slant swap, slant swap. I did it.
You
See?
did it.
That would be a great shirt.
Slant swap the world.
Yeah.
Well, it would be just put in the back of the cars that they were all taken out of and people put Dupox in them.
Uncle Tony, did you know that Chrysler developed the first experimental Hemi engine for the Republic P-47 Thunderbolt fighter aircraft? The XIV 2200 engine was an inverted V16 rated at 2,500 horsepower. I thought the first ones were in tanks. I mean, I'm sure you're an aficionado for this stuff. I thought that the first ones were in tanks, but if you tell me it's for a fighter plane, I believe it. But I mean, you got to realize the hemispherical combustion chamber goes way back. Peugeot had the first one in like 18 something or other, 1880 something, 1890 something. Peugeot was actually the first with a hemispherical combustion chamber. JW, is there any way to fit factory power steering with a 440 in an A body? Yeah, I've seen people do it with log exhaust manifolds and a little bit of grinding. What?
Sand Mountain was 60. That's fools that it also helps. Don't forget that.
Don't you have to go to bed early? You got school in the morning.
Who?
Sand Mountain.
Oh, see here, Joseph says something nice. You're a class act, Tony. God bless you.
Thank you, Joseph. I appreciate that.
Really nice, Joseph. Slant six. Wheelchair slant six. See.
I really want to try something with that Jeep motor.
Oh, Tony, we've got so many projects right now, and don't you know that you don't finish any of them?
I know. I don't finish any projects. I can't finish any projects because then that would upset the thing, So the balance. But I mean, there's another project I could start and never finish.
Like, Marshmallow farmers. KS70 Challenger smoking off the tires and throwing sparks on 96 VHS. It's my three-stroke with Firebird country. Oh. They're chatting amongst themselves.
Oh man, we've been on for over 2 hours.
Yeah, we.
I'm gonna be all talked out. I want my ice cream.
Oh, you want your ice cream?
I want ice
City
cream.
Carpet says, check out my stock 1965 GTOs at ACO. YouTube channel, New York State GTO. NYS GTO. Awesome. Everybody go check that out. NYS GTO. You need help with pricing to buy and rebuild a 318 or 340? You mean like how much should it be?
I really couldn't. I couldn't give you.
Yeah. I don't know.
Billy, it's such a range,
Yeah.
and most of it has to do with your creativity and your ability to scrounge, or I can't answer that.
What about uploading 225 for 1971 with a natural aspirated 4-valve? Make a difference or equal the supercharger, or maybe go forward with a 318.
Oh, that's with the car in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, a 4-barrel is not going to do it for you. I'm telling you, it's just too much car for that motor to give you what you're looking for. A B body really should have a V8. I mean, honestly, I mean, you stick with the Slant 6 for novelty, but either supercharge it or swap to a V8 to try to build a naturally aspirated Slant 6 to move around that big B body, a big heavy B body. You are not going to be happy. I mean, I'm trying to be honest with you.
Yeah. Slant swap the world, get her a t-shirt.
And here I'm telling this guy not to
Right?
yeah. He contradicts himself all the time.
Right.
I love my trolls. I have a 61 Falcon, planning on swapping a 351 rollers into it. What would be a good street cam for it? People ask me to make camshaft recommendations, and the only camshaft recommendation I can make to you is to take all of the pertinent details of your car, because tell me you got a 61 Falcon doesn't mean anything. All of the pertinent details of your car, the weight, the gearing, the tire size, the transmission, the converter, most importantly, the intended use, okay? Take all of that information and then contact any of the camshaft manufacturers and give them all of that information. They have people who literally their entire universe, all they do, all day, every day, is to spec cams for certain applications, and that's what you want to do. You don't give enough information here to answer that question, and even if you gave me all of that information, I can't give you a specific recommendation for that engine. So you want to talk to a camshaft manufacturer. I hope that's a good answer. Jelly Bean, Tony, there's a 72 Valiant 225 a town over for me, asking $4,000 here in Iowa. Good price. Any pointers to look for? I tell you what, if it's a complete running rust-free car, $4,000 isn't bad. $4,000 isn't bad. People are gonna be like, but it's a 4-door, it's a punch car, right? Yeah. Ignore those ass clowns. It's a good foundation. It's a great driver. It's a, you know what I mean? If it's a solid car and it's complete and it runs and he's asking $4,000 for it, jump on it.
Oh, kaboom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just got stationed in Florida. Bought an 82 Datsun 720 5-speed with it?
SD22 diesel is a daily for down here. That's cool. That's cool.
Thank you.
Good luck with it, my brother.
Let's see. What happened to the two guys that helped you build this budget slant? They went about their way.
I built a budget slant with it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, no. Yeah, well, they finished up and they moved on.
They're done. He just wanted to get his engine done, right? Yeah, that was it.
And by the way, just for general knowledge now, when we do something with somebody's car, okay, no money changes hands. So just for the record, because I saw a couple of people asking, well, how much is this costing this guy or whatever it is, right? When we do a video, when we do stuff for this channel, okay, and we work on somebody's car, we work with somebody, no money ever changes hands. So just keep that in mind. We don't, and it's not, it's not favors, it's not parts, it's not something like that. No money changes hands. We do this, we do a video. It's not business. So just keep that in mind.
Well, I didn't know anybody mentioned that.
Yeah, a couple. Well, it comes up. It's like how much does Tony charge to do this? How much does Tony doesn't charge anything because I'm not in that business. If we choose to work on your car, we'll work with you on your car because we don't want to work on your car. I don't want to work on your car. I want you to work on your car, and I will help you work on your car. No money ever changes hands. I am not in the business of building engines or building cars or doing any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So just keep that in mind for going forward.
Yeah, I'm looking for questions.
We got it.
Let's see.
Okay, Nichols. Yeah, but 78 AMC Concord 304 has been sitting since 1991. Has a miss at idle. Redid all the ignition, rebuilt the car, no vacuum leaks, good compression and timing. What am I missing? Compression. Well, no, you say you got good compression. Jesus, has a miss at idle. You rebuilt the car, no vacuum leaks. No vacuum leaks that you're aware of. 78 AMC Concord has been, okay, okay, EGR valve. Pull the EGR valve and check it. It's leaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chassis trucks.
Okay, someone near me is selling a 4-door Nova, unsure of the year, but all it needs is floor, trunk, pan, and they want $400. There's a 2-speed power glide. Is this yeah, man, $400. I would grab it. If you've got the space, I mean, something like that, even if you're not going to do anything with it right away, you know what I mean? If you've got the space to lay up a car like that, just grab it for $400. What do you get for $400? You can barely get a good meal for $400 anymore.
Where?
Go.
We don't go eat $400 meals.
$400, go buy that car and stick it someplace.
Peds in order. What's up from Staten Island? Staten Island.
What's happening, brother man?
Always watch you, bud. What's going on? See, it's all different because we know they're from Staten Island.
They're from Staten Island.
Hey, Tony, had a plumb return line with single feed carb.
So in other words, you don't want to use a fuel pressure regulator, you want to use a return line. I mean, is this for performance or is this to prevent vapor lock? So you got two different reasons why you would do something like that. And you would plummet different ways depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Okay, simple. If you're plumbing it for performance and you want to return, instead of using instead of using a fuel pressure regulator, you want to use a return line with a jet, right? You could just plumb that directly back into the inlet side of the pump, right? No problem. So you're just circulating it like that. If it's a vapor lock thing that you want to plumb a return line for, then you want to run that to the tank or as far back as possible. So that the pressure vents into the tank. That's best I can answer you.
DD Speed Shop.
What's happening, brother man?
Come on.
67 GTX is a wicked car. So it's beautiful, right? You're gonna see some close-up details of that thing tomorrow. We're gonna do a video on how to identify a Hemi car. So we're gonna show all of very close-up, intimate pictures of the details that make a Hemi car a Hemi car.
Don and Wendy. Have twin 62 lines,
Yeah.
four windows from all the way down to the slant, and only halfway in the 440. Logical reason?
Yeah, of course. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. I actually knew the answer I knew the answer to that question early this afternoon, just to show you how advanced I am.
Thank you, Dickie Farley.
Thank you, Dickie.
Let's see. Check out the horsepower monitor channel on YouTube.
I have seen it. It's a good
Have
channel.
seen it? Okay.
Yeah. They build performance 4-liter. They have a stroker 4.0. They both. Yeah, no, I've seen that channel. They do good stuff.
The horsepower monster.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like the end of your video that said roll up your windows production.
So what happened was,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was a little crazy.
Okay, so what happened was, Ultra Kathy added that to the end of the videos. And it was pretty cool, right? You know, it was like a nice, smooth, professional ending to it, right? But-
and it was going to help, you know, with watching other videos and stuff
Yeah,
at the end.
yeah, it was.
Instead of showing it on the end of the video and covering people's faces, it was better, more streamlined.
Yeah, it was cool. I liked it, right? And
So I know how they do it now. I know how
now
it
you
works.
know,
You
we're-
have to manually place the ads.
okay, yeah.
Okay.
So what happens is YouTube automatically when you post a video, YouTube automatically puts the ads where they're going to put the ads. Okay, but when you add something, when you add an element like that at the end of the video, YouTube reads it as an ad, and because you put your own ad there, they don't put any of their ads. So we ran for a couple of days with like no revenue. It was like,
Yeah, we were going broke.
we were like, we're going
What
broke.
the hell is going on?
You know,
Because I didn't even think to look at that. Well, it
Yeah.
didn't make sense to me.
I'm thinking, okay, so I'm gonna have to do some kind of insurance job. I'm gonna have to torch the house. I'm gonna have to torch the shop because we're gonna go broke.
Yeah,
And
it was pretty crazy.
And it was because, yeah, YouTube read what she had added to the back of it as an ad.
Yeah.
But now we figured it all out, so
Right,
we're
it's
good.
fixed.
Yeah,
It was
I don't
panic for a
have to
second.
rob gas stations, liquor stores again. So
be
we're good,
careful.
yeah.
Yeah, if you're adding anything to your videos like that, be careful. Make sure that, you know, you go and look at ads to make sure that they're on your videos. Yeah, whew. That was kind of crazy. Okay, waiting for us. I left as your end of the GTX bit. Cheers.
She stuck in. We were just playing around,
Yeah.
and she stuck in it at the end.
Let's see. And see how brake fluid leak attacked the tire of the 67 GTX. Unbelievable.
And you'd never know that, right? It's the kind of thing you look over a car, you look at the tires. Oh, the tires are beautiful, right? You would never think to look on the inside to see if, you know, like always being, you know, always wet with brake fluid, if there's any damage to the rubber. You would never think to do that. So, you know, it only goes to show you, you can't take anything for granted.
Everyone's zoning out.
I'm sorry,
Douglas failed.
Douglas, would I tell a new mechanic to buy a cheaper toolbox and spend the money on tools? I made a mistake of buy Snap-on apprentice kit. Yeah, no. Your toolbox, do you make money with your toolbox? You know, you don't make money with your toolbox. You make okay, okay, you're a new mechanic, Douglas. Let me tell you something. There's only one tool you need. Only one tool. This one right here, okay? And everything else is just an accessory to help this get the job done, right? So don't worry about kits and don't worry about, you know, this latest thing or whatever. Go to an estate sale, buy yourself a hammered old freaking Craftsman box. Don't worry about any of that shit, right? And fill it with the tools that you need to perform the tasks that you need. You know, it's just like, you know, in drag racing, you don't race trailers, right? You know, you race cars. You know, and it's the same thing with being a mechanic. You know, your toolbox and shit like that. You know, that's not you're not going to make any money with it. Spend your money on the things you need. You know.
Yes, Big Bear. That's why it was uploaded a second time. Because when we found out, I panicked when we realized what it was, and I tried to edit it in YouTube.
Yeah.
But I don't use YouTube Editor. I use Premiere Pro, so I wasn't used to working with it. Yes, DeSoto. And it wasn't editing right. No matter what I did, I couldn't get the ends of the video off because I was trying to take it off. So we were like, okay, just scrap it and upload it again. So yeah.
Yeah, we lost like 5,000
Yeah, we
views
did. We
too.
lost a lot of views. But now we know. This is how you learn. DeSoto, what? Holy mackerel. That won't happen again. Let's see. Yes, thank you, Barden. Don't forget the UGG merch. Yes, we have it at UGG. Well, it's not UGG. It's garage.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AndrewButton.com,
Yes, I'm
right?
just gonna click on it.
Yeah, I agree with Tony on the toolboxes, although I have witnessed tool shaming in the shop at times to an extreme level.
Come here, DeSoto.
Listen, right? You know, I want to tell you something, okay? To be successful in the world, right? You know, you're a young guy. You gotta, you know, you gotta stand your ground, right? And you gotta have a thick skin. And tool shaming, you know what I'm saying, or any type of shaming like that. Oh, yeah. If you're going to let,
Yes.
yeah. If you're gonna let that type of thing affect you, then you know what? Your life is going to end up a ball of frustration and pointless, you know, everything. Okay. So, you know what I mean? It's like, no, tool shaming, right? You stand, this is, it doesn't matter what it is. This is my toolbox and I'm going to get the job done. Right. And let these assholes say whatever they're going to say. You know what I mean? But tool shaming. Let's see. When they tool shame you, pull out the claw hammer. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. And the wood-handled screwdrivers, right? Definitely. Definitely.
So where are you at?
I don't even know.
You don't know where you're at?
No, I'm starting. I'm starting.
Yeah, you're zoning out.
I'm starting to zone. Yeah.
Oh, Bruce W. Just got back home.
How many horsepower do you think you get out of 170? I don't know, but I'm not building it really for horsepower so much. It's not an ultimate power situation. I'm really looking for that mid-range. You know, I don't know what I'm looking for yet, which is one of the things that makes this, you know, fun to me, right? Because this is like all new. So I don't know how much horsepower I'm going to get out of it. I don't even know if it's a matter of seeking a horsepower number. I think it's going to be more a low-end torque thing. You know what I mean? It's going to be a flow thing, not a grunt thing. So, you know, but I don't know. I'm going to learn. And that's why I'm interested in doing this project.
They're talking about tools. So people like Husky. Apparently tool shaming is a thing. What?
It is a thing.
What?
It is a thing.
What kind of jerk does that?
Oh, please. I mean, you can always ego. Listen, in the world of cars, right? Machines in general, right? Because it could be cars, it could be motorcycles, it could be boats, it could be planes, it could be whatever it happens to be. You got two types of people, okay? You got people who are doing this for their ego, okay? It's like, look at what I got bigger than you, I got better than you, I got whatever it happens to be, mine more expensive, more rare, more whatever, right? And then you got people who do it because they love it, and they love being around the machinery, and they love doing what they're doing, right? Don't be the first guy, okay? You know, and if you're that first guy and you're watching this channel, leave. I have nothing for you. We have nothing to offer you at all. We don't do this channel about ego. We do this channel about the love of machinery. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's the same thing when you're talking about tools and shit like that. You know, if your toolbox is an extension of your dick, well, then you know what? You're on the wrong freaking channel. Go to a different channel that features that kind of stuff. If your tools are something that you use to make these ideas happen in front of you, then you're in the right place. Then you're in the right place, right? And that sums up everything.
Well, Thank you, Don.
Why do you think that kid was having trouble with the 600 CFM carb on his polycurie?
I have no clue. I don't know. I don't. I'm going to find out.
Hunter says I'll be driving through Tennessee early next month. What part are you from?
We're in Murfreesboro.
Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
Glovin Newman says, yeah, I built a lot of motors and my tools are from everywhere. No shame in it.
My tools are from everywhere. Well, I mean, I deliver.
Old craftsman tools.
I got a mixed bag of everything. I have no idea what I got. It's just I have like something from every manufacturer. And you know what? I'll break it, I'll lose it, I'll modify it, I'll do whatever, and then I'll throw it away and I'll get another one. And it's like, I mean, and I got tools everywhere. I got a toolbox here, a toolbox there. I don't give a shit where they are as long as they get the job done.
All over. Tools, not essentially tool bag. Oh, UTG sponsored by Cook Guitar, at least that's the ad they played when I came back on. Oh, nice. I don't think they care what they put their ads.
Yeah.
It's automotive. That's all they know.
Coker Tire is a great outfit too. They're right down the street over here in Chattanooga. And we did the thing with the hot rod hoarder, Bird, first name, I can't think of his name. He works over at Coker Tire. Tommy Lee Bird. The hot rod hoarder, great channel.
Mike Kent. Is it a good idea and safe to run an extra, what is it, 10-gauge wire?
Yeah.
From the all stud to the starter relay. With a 14-gauge fusible link in order to save 60s Chrysler bulkhead from burning wires.
It's not the gauge of the wire, right? It's not the gauge of the wire. It's generally what happens is you got two things that happen. There's two failure points in that system, okay? The first failure point is the connection in the bulkhead connector, right? Because it's a male-female spade thing. And just over time, heat gets, it gets hot, it gets touches of moisture, they corrode, they get Trungat, right? And that'll give you an intermittent connection, but it won't give you the meltdown. The meltdown comes from the alternator. And what happens is the diode goes bad inside the alternator. And it'll happen, listen to me, it'll happen when the car is just sitting there. Key could be off, right? You just walk away from it and you have an electrical fire. The problem with the Chrysler charging system is in the alternator, it's the diode. So what happens is the diode shorts out. And when the diode shorts out, the first place to get heat is the alternator gauge. And that's where you have the problem there. So if you're going to do anything, I would say put like a 60 amp fuse in line after or a breaker, right? Between the alternator, just right off the alternator. Okay, so the wire that bolts onto the back of the alternator, put a fuse in that circuit so that when it does go dead short, it doesn't melt the rest of the system.
Unfinished project. And Z paint coming soon?
We just talked about that yesterday. I have to paint. We're doing other things, and I want to run the car before we paint it. And we would have run the car 2 weeks ago, except we got rained out that weekend.
It rains every weekend.
It rains every weekend here. And then last Saturday we had the open house. This weekend we've just been busy.
Troy. Serious question. Which one's the best ride and least cost? Add a rear leaf or coilover? I'm running 2 inches too low on the A-body.
Which allows best ride and least cost? Add rear leaf or coil over? I would say your springs are probably shot. You're on inches too low to, I mean, okay, is the car at normal ride height or is it riding 2 inches lower than normal ride height? I think that's a big, if it's riding 2 inches lower than normal ride height, then get yourself a set of springs. You know, get a set of re-arch springs, new springs, however you go about that. If it's a matter of dealing with extra weight, then the coilovers, load levelers are going to be your best bet.
That's cool. Nicholas, I was telling you about a Valiant I was gonna get. I ended up getting a 4-door 61 Ford Falcon with a 200 inline 6 and a 3-speed. Leads Ford's not a bad project for a 15-year-old.
It's a great project. That's a great car. Absolutely. Have a blast with that, man.
Starts with tool shaming, then car shaming. Then you did this wrong, and they turn into those conquests who do nothing with their cars except look at it in the garage and let it collect dust. We have one of those.
We have a few of them,
We have one of those.
but it's not because I'm trying to impress anybody.
No.
We're just,
Poly question.
okay. I heard the 315 poly was a little different than the other poly engines. It was a good compared to, say, a 318 poly. You had many different poly engines. You had all of the Chrysler poly engines that were the Spitfire motors, and you had the Dodge polys, the Red Ram motors, and they're completely different than the Plymouth poly. So you have the whole different families of poly motors. Guys, I think we got to call it.
I'm tired.
Yeah, I can't really think straight anymore. I want my ice cream. I really want.
Okay.
I just want to sit on the couch and eat some ice cream because I got to get up early and go crank.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, guys, we're moving on to 3 hours
3 hours.
now. Yeah. So we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it a night. I didn't see Zero tonight.
No.
I don't think I saw Harry.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Harry was here.
Yes, Harry was here. But
Laura was here.
Fubar, yeah, Fubar's always here. Fubar is omnipresent,
John is here.
and John is omnipresent. Yeah. I got to thank Zero anyway because he would be here in spirit for
Yes.
sure, right? So our mods, right? John, Fubar, Ari, Zero, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Everybody who contributed through Super Chat, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it. It keeps everything moving forward here. Everybody contributed with good conversation. We appreciate that just as much.
Yogurt wants a thumbs up.
Yogurt's got his thumbs up.
Yogurt.
Yes. Wednesday night live tech talk. So I try to keep this more like general conversation and not more tech. And so if you got like really thought provoking technical discussion and shit like that. Yeah. It was good. Yeah. It flew. The night flew. So I know we were having fun. I know it was a good deal. But yeah, Wednesday night tech talk. We do that over at Dallas's house, 7:00 Wednesday night. Every Wednesday night, live there. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys so much. We
And-
appreciate it.
And we're gonna call it a night. So hit the end something. Just make it end. Make it go away. Make it stop.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Make it stop. Make it